Yes, we're back again. Let's wait a couple of more seconds. Couple more seconds to give y'all some time to come back in here.
So I wanted to come on here and talk about this Fresh and Fit fiasco because a lot of people have been sending me emails and sending me video clips and everything on them that's gone viral because they had Asian doll on the show and she walked off the show based on an altercation that she had
Mm-hmm.
with Fugly and Fruitcake. And look, I've
Hey,
talked about
Caroline.
these two bandits in the past. When I talked about them in the past, it was because there was a black woman who sat on their show, a dark skinned black woman, and she sat up there and laughed and kikied and smiled and giggled as these two struggle bandits here who were not vetted, who have not shown their credentials, who literally popped up out of the dust and decided to call themselves dating coaches and then got the support of black women. But she sat up there in front of them, laughing and giggling as they told her that they don't date black women and she's not like other black women, yada, yada, yada. The same narratives that we've heard black men complain that
Yeah.
non black
Yada
people have
yada
said about
yada.
them. And so essentially, that's what they did to that woman on their show. And when I kept getting these emails about this, and I looked at the clips and I started thinking about, do I really want to talk about this? What I thought is that, black women will, whenever they hear black men telling the honest truth about how they feel about them, because look, black men are doing every single thing that they can to show black women where they stand. So at this point, the issue is black women. We're out here looking silly. Black men continue to publicly express these sentiments about black women, and black women continue to support and build these bandits up. Like I said earlier, these bandits literally popped out of the dust, made a YouTube channel, called themselves dating coaches, and that's
Mm-hmm.
all that was needed to get
That's
the
what they
support
do
of black
now.
women. And we know it's black women because nobody else is going to build up two ugly, self hating struggle bandits except for black women. Because the only requirement that these bandits have to meet is that they look like you. Either black women support with views and money, or they support by being the content and calling in or going on these men's shows so that they can be disrespected by crowds of non-select loser incels who failed at life and they want to take it out on women. This is what all of these so-called dating coaches who are men and who are black, this is how all of them start. So when
Yep.
I think about this situation and black women making this go viral and having all of this outrage on social media, I'm thinking to myself, black women, no one needs to help you except you. Because you control whether this goes away. If you have an issue with the kitten in heels, you control whether he stays popular. If you have an issue with Funky and Fake, you can get rid of them by simply not supporting them. Popularity by exploiting you in some way, but you allow it. And so, as we get into this, I want you guys to think about why it is that black women repeatedly, over and over and over, continue to help popularize men like this, only to turn around and get a big FU in their face. Only to get disrespected, only to get exploited, only to get told that you're not good enough because of the color of your skin. See, because black women, you're giving them the loyalty and the advocacy and the love and the support because they look like you. And it's for this very reason that black men are publicly demeaning you and saying that they don't want you. So this is yet again another contradiction. This is yet again
Hey,
another
shrimp.
L based on black male worship that has to be dealt with. And we're going to go a little bit more into that. But I want to give a shout out to and thanks to everyone who has contributed to the content on this channel. If you want to contribute to the content, you can do so by emailing me. My email address is in the description box and pinned to the comment section. Please, videos that's mostly going viral is this video where you have these two bandits sitting up talking about how they don't date black women, and we know the type of language that they're using, and we're going to get into that. And then we're also going to look at this video. It's an extended video so that you can see in context why Asian Doll walked off this show. And when we come back, after I show you guys some comments, because I want you guys to see what people are saying online as well. And when we come back, I want to talk about what I saw in this video and why I think that this is a nail on black women at the end of the day. How long are we going to sit here and complain about something that we have complete control
Hopefully they
over?
show the other part.
You may think that we don't have control over whether these dudes choose to get on YouTube, but we do have control over whether they become popular or not. And we're going to talk more about this when I get back. But first, I want you guys to look at these two videos. Then you'll see some comments. Then we'll come back for further commentary.
Show them.
Guys, sidebar conversations, please.
All right. What about
I've told you this is like, this is like the fifth time I've told you that, right?
Sixth time.
Like, stop. For real, like, stop.
He mean as fuck.
Like, you haven't been here.
I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. Yeah, it's the whole show.
Yeah, she's been doing it the whole show. I'm not mean as fuck. I just have rules. Simple.
All right, go ahead. It's podcast.
Damn. What I look for in a man in club, that's like approaching me.
Hold on. Excuse me?
You mean?
I'm not mean at all.
Okay, I don't care.
Have you been here the whole time?
No.
All right, then. So you don't know what was happening, right?
I don't give a fuck.
Okay, then. So how you going to come on somebody's show, not know what go down, and say, oh, you're mean?
It don't matter. I can say what I want.
Okay, well, you can get the fuck off the show, too.
I don't give a fuck.
Get off the show, too.
Man.
Nah, you can go.
You damn right I'm
chill, bro. She ain't gotta go nowhere.
After.
I don't have to.
Come on, baby. We don't have to be this mean. We can all
I'm going to go after I say what I got to say. Don't tell when you can leave. You goddamn right I'm going to leave. But you're going to hear every bit of this mouth before I leave. While I'm leaving, I'm going to whap your ass.
Listen.
Chill
out, bro. Let's calm down.
Sorry.
He's hot. I'm calm.
No, I'm very calm, but it's like, bro, you gotta show a little bit of respect on the platform.
It's cool, bro. Chill.
I say you mean. It is what it is. What the fuck you want me to say?
That's not the truth, though.
You mad about I saying mean? You grown as hell.
What?
Yeah, well.
Okay. So earlier on the show, there's a little back and forth. So he was just telling her to chill because it was like 5 times before to like chill.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Okay, but I said he mean. Why he want to stop the shit?
Well,
dramatic.
Because you don't know what was going on.
We are hosting the show.
It's
good,
though,
bro.
Why would that piss you off?
Chill, bro. It's all right. We all right. We good.
He want a moment. Get us slow.
We good. Let's keep going, bro. We all right.
I want to leave.
Let's keep in the baby.
Don't leave, please.
I won't.
Please.
Okay. Just like from here on out, like please, one at a time because we're gonna get short
we'll
right
start
now.
it over. I promise I won't say nothing. I promise.
This is the 5th time.
Okay.
You said that last time.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, let's start it over. Okay.
Listen, dude. Don't let them diamonds fool you.
All right.
Oh, I'm banging.
Super test and then we'll do,
Nah. I'm just talking in general. Don't get me beat up, but.
No. We'll end the show after this. After this, okay, cool. Yeah, 20 up. Netty pot.
Netty pot for tomorrow morning.
Messed up.
I need one. Venmo me or send it to me via Uber Eats. Thanks.
Right, we got Pixie Normus.
Thank you.
$10 says, girl, 2 away from Myron is Freshina. Okay. We got DJ says, Dan, when Agent Lo sat down, shimmy all the girls busted. You up?
Now watch this.
All right. Girl, 2 away from Myron is Freshina. Okay, cool. And then we got special one in the back.
They can't even pay attention to dance.
Now watch this.
Cool. So we're gonna end this show here shortly. It's funny, I never used that one, bro. About the black dating app called Black. It's funny, I never used that one, bro. But hey, man.
I mean, hey, bro, if you want to date a bunch of Shaniquas, go for it, man.
Lakeisha.
Yeah, like me and Fresh aren't really down with the brown like that.
Man.
We ain't night riders.
Nah,
so
bro, I'm good.
Sometimes if they're red bone, but like in general, me and Fresh don't dabble in the dark. If you know what I'm saying. Yep.
They don't dabble. They don't dabble in the dark. So would you keep the lights on? Shaniquas Shaniquas and the Quishas. You got colorism, nameism. You just had a lot of shit.
It's like Nike, but a third of the price. I don't think I've ever felt.
That's what I say. Ain't nobody say nothing. A podcast is an immigrant who doesn't like black women. Black women need to stop going on his podcast. Exactly. Exactly. Y'all clowns who don't deserve Shaniquas. Actually, women were right and quit chasing Enos. You would never see vagina again. Trash, colorist. Trash your poor mama. How do black women go on this culture vulture show? Exactly. This proves that black people need to be gatekeepers for the culture. Them being anti-black is the reason we can't invite all the people to color to the cookout. Proud of Asian dog. All the women sitting on Fresh and Frank, boop, silent. Yep. The women that go on Fresh and Fit is clowns like them.
Now, you guys saw those videos and you also saw the comments and listened. There was a number of different things that was wrong with that video scenario. So let me say this. First of all, by now, all black women should already know what's going on with these dudes. This isn't the first type of controversy that they've had. This isn't the first time they've been called out. This isn't the first time they've publicly disparaged and demeaned dark-skinned black women. Yet in that video, the first video that you saw, the extended version, you saw a number of different black women there, including the dark-skinned black women, as well as Asian doll. These two bandits are known for having nasty, unpleasant attitudes, extremely unprofessional, and if they don't have an opportunity to outright disrespect you so that their crowd can continue to send them cash apps and super chats, then they'll create an opportunity. And that is what I see here. I see black women thinking that they're going to be different. Either you are on there because you want the attention of their crowd, or you think that you're somehow better than the next black woman and that they're going to see some type of value in you and treat you better. And that's the problem that we need to deal with as Black women. See, because Black women want the validation and the attention of these bandits. It just is what it is. And if you didn't want the attention, you wouldn't go on their show. You don't benefit from going on their show. When have a Black woman benefited from being on Funky and Frog's show or the Kitten in Heels? When? When have a Black woman benefited? When did it get you some subscribers? When did it put money in your bank account? It didn't. But they're getting popular. They're getting the super chat because you're the content. All you are the content. And they need you for the content. But at the end of the day, this is their come up, and Black women continue to help. And then even when he did have the altercation with Asian Doll, and she pointed out how rude and disrespectful they are, when she got up and left, you still had Black women sitting there as if somehow they won't disrespect you the way that they disrespected her.
If you've been considering homeschooling or feel your child is not thriving in public school, consider the ZIAX Institute. This is a STEM-based, Afro-centered educational program for Black
people and are being discussed and dissected by a number of different non-Black people, because you have two visibly Black men in these video clips. And I want to say a sidebar, because there's Black women on Twitter, and you may have seen those in the comments, which we were going to get to. But there are comments where Black women are like, this man ain't even Black, he's Arab, yada, 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 not understanding that Arab isn't a race. Why do you think that this man isn't Black just because he's from a foreign country? Is he an immigrant? Yes, both of them are. But at the end of the day, what is Arab? What is that racially? Like, I don't even know why Black women are sitting up there saying, oh, well, this isn't a Black man. Do you think that this man is perceived to be Black in society or Arab? Because nobody's looking at a Black man and an Arab man when they see these clips. They see two Black men. And that's because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what plot of land these men come from, they're still Black men. So at the end of the day, you have two Black men in the clip, one being dark skinned and the other being brown skinned, who are both publicly shunning women who share their skin tone. So when we talk about the ways that Black men show the world that they hate and dislike Black women, is this not an example of Black men making a concerted effort to publicly demean and disparage Black women? And this is literally all we see. So the bottom line of it is the reason why we see this negativity out here against Black women by Black men is because this is what Black men want the world to see. And unfortunately, there is something in Black women's mind that's not clicking right. This telling them that somehow the next group of trash bag bandits are going to be different from the ones that came before them.
Yep.
And that's not the case. At the end of the day, Black men are putting out the images and messages that they want to put out. What's interesting about this, but really not surprising at all, is that the darker skinned dude now has people all on his social media going in on his mother because his mother is a dark skinned woman. And we already know that Black men don't care about their mothers, they don't care about their family, they don't care about their children. So it doesn't make them any difference that this man's mom, you think he cares that his mom is now on the chopping block because of something he said about dark-skinned women? No. These dudes sat up here in this video and said they ain't down with the brown, they ain't night riders. These bandits made sure to exclude the entire spectrum of Black women. How are these dudes any different than a white supremacist? See, Black men always want to talk about the mindset and oppression of men who are dominating them, but they can't even see the white supremacy in themselves. And this is one of the primary reasons why I changed my content. What benefit does it pose for me to talk about white supremacy outside of our community when we haven't first addressed the ones that's within it? I realize that these struggle bandits are the white supremacists that pose as the greatest threat to you. And it's because they are right in front of you, but because they look like you. And this is what Black women care about the most, that if someone looks like them, that must mean that they're trustworthy and that they got the credentials that you need to trust and listen to them. Meanwhile, these dudes are full-blown white supremacists. They have the same mindset. They have the same ideology. They talk in the same coded language. There's no difference from Black men and the system that they complain about. Now, half of the Funky and Fraud duo actually responded to this, but before I get to those responses, I want to say this. Ain't no way I would ever be sitting on a show with two people who look like these dudes who are in pictures with ashy kneecaps and wrinkled clothes. Look.
Brothers and sisters, this is urgent. I am standing in front of
just get up in front of y'all and claim to be a dating coach. And this is why you will never see change out of Black men. Because despite how many times Black women will sit up and say that they're tired of Black men and their colorism and all the things that they're doing or not doing, because they ain't doing nothing to benefit the community, you will still have Black women sitting up in front of low-ranking struggle bandits with ashy ankles and knees, sitting up talking about who's high value and who ain't, people's sexual market value and whether you're desirable or not. Ain't no way there should be a Black woman sitting in front of two men who look like they do and vying for anything except a paycheck for having to be there. How do you feel about two undesirable men that you already know you wouldn't even want to date sitting up here wallowing in so much arrogance that they will actually talk about which type of women they wouldn't date if they have all these options? But my opinion on how they look doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, they're not at a loss of Black women sitting up on their show. And so I'm trying to get Black women to realize the contradictory that's taking place here. And it's not just with Funky and Fraud, it's with the Kitten and Heels, the Let Goes, whoever. It is a deep contradiction for Black women to keep complaining about these type of men and then supporting them. So we're going to have a moment of honesty here. Would these two bandits have the wherewithal to sit up here and say what they're saying if Black women didn't continuously support them, if Black women didn't build them up, if Black women didn't constantly go on their shows looking for validation and looking to be told that they're the exceptional Black woman in the community? That is why you're going there, because you want these men to tell you that you are better than the other Black women in this community. And in order for us to effectively deal with the issues in the Black community, we're going to have to deal with our self-esteem as Black women. But I want to get into these responses from these bandits. So I want to read this statement that Asian Doll made. She said, "I was so calm yesterday because I knew what he was going to try to do." So she's already telling you, I already know how these dudes get down because I've watched the show before. I've seen them disrespect Black women numerous times, but I still decided to go on the show. Basically, that's what she's saying. She said, Mr. Freddy Krueger was finna get beat down Elm Street off camera. I'm thankful for the growth and self-control, and I'm happy I defended another Black woman because he was treating her so bad. Now, she said she was defending another Black woman, yet when she got up and walked out, do you think Black women got up and walked out with her? No. They continued to sit there. And this is what I'm saying is the issue, Black women. This is what the world is seeing, Black women, as you sit there and talk about how problematic these men are. But when you're in the face of these men who are problematic towards other Black women, you don't even support them. All of these Black women should have got up and walked out the minute that Asian Doll did. So then Funky and Fitt came back and responded. And he said, we live in a clown world where a man can no longer tell rude and disrespectful guests to leave his home and platform. She came late and made an incorrect assumption. When I explained my reasoning, she doubled down and said, you a mean-ass ninja, followed by I don't care and I don't give a F and I can say what I want. To all the simps talking smack, watch the entire podcast from last night before you make low IQ comments. Does this sound like a man who's concerned that he's going to take an L over something he said about Black women? No. And the reason he doesn't think he's going to take one because he ain't took one before her. So why would he? Asian doll then came back and said, I didn't call you no mean ass ninja. Why would I do that? And you not even black. You're mad because you thought you had a viral moment by being disrespectful to black females. But don't they have a viral moment off of disrespecting black women all the time though? And black women keep going on the show all the time, and the internet just flipped the script on your whack ass. You shouldn't have even posted that clip. It's your own fault you getting dragged. And you lied when I left and said you don't know who I am. LOL, that's cool. The world just showed you who the F I am. At Unplug Fitt, you a clown that hates black women. But here's the question, who's looking like the real clowns though? Are they the real clowns because they keep repeatedly disrespecting black women on their public platform? Or are black women the clowns because they keep going on there to get disrespected? These bandits have the same language and sentiments as some of the most prominent white supremacists in history. This is yet another thing that only black women have to deal with from their group of men that other races of women don't. And the more we see this foolishness, the more we see black women clinging to black male worship as if it doesn't make us look dumb and weak. And I know these seems like harsh words, but they're true. The world is looking at us, continue to support and be loyal to and worship the men who are sending us and our children to meet our makers every 5.5 hours, the men who have destroyed our communities and made them unsafe, the ones who refuse to provide and protect, the most unemployed and incarcerated group of men who can't even provide for or protect themselves. These are expendable bandits who continue to let the world know how much they despise you and don't want you. And black women's response to that is that you're dealing with them because you want children who look like you. So listen, I didn't even do this to try and go in on black women. But at some point, black women, you're going to have to realize that the very things that you're complaining about are the bandits that you're building up. Black women put these two men in a position to be like this. It just is what it is. And then in the comment section, just like every single time when we see this, you have black men in here defending this, condoning it, talking about it's just their preferences. How long are you going to continue to go through this, black women? I want to know. Because this will stop when you put an end to it. Until
a little congested right now. I don't know if y'all been knowing what's up with this weather, but something about it is really making me congested and my sinuses are going crazy. And so Nyla, I sent you the link because I wanted to see if you wanted to go over that part in your live stream. Because there was something I wanted to talk about with that one. I was gonna, if you weren't able to come up here, I was just gonna play the beginning part because there's something specific about that beginning part that that really stood out to me. But yeah, I linked you so you can come up. Let me close this. Have you heard it ever, Nyla, from a white woman or an Asian? Ask him if his wife is is Asian. Ask him if his wife is white. I've never heard any. Now, I have heard black women asking that when Brian called up, they did want to know whether he had a black wife or not. But no one, there is no group of women on this planet who has to wonder if their male group dates them. There's not one. I want y'all to understand how sad and pathetic it is that black women have to check to see if a black man likes black women. This is not a different group of men that you don't give birth to. These are the men that you give birth to.
That is so true.
All of those people saying, well, is she saying abort innocent babies? All of these black men that you're questioning whether they like you now, they were babies at one point. They were an infant when they were born. And then the minute that they turned 2, they were no longer considered an infant. They were considered a toddler. And then you go into adolescence and you spend most of your life as an adult. Just so people know, I don't know if you guys know, but most of your lifespan is not in infancy. It is in adulthood. So you have black women who are giving birth to these men, to these males, because they're not men when they're born, and then later growing up and being the single group of women who have to check and see if the males in their community that they give birth to are willing to date them, like them, or have a black wife.
Yep.
And I sit up there and I thought about this after I heard that on your channel, after I saw it in the comment section. A black woman asked in her comment section. And I said to myself, that means black men have done a very thorough job of doing 2 things. Do you want to know what those 2 things are, Nyla? That they had to have done if that is the response, and I've seen this multiple times. I've seen it tons of times. Most prevalent when he is a celebrity black man, when he's the black man's of means. That is the most of the time when I hear black women questioning whether that black man has an interest in black women or not. And I said to myself, you know, there's 2 things that had to have occurred in order for this to be the climate in our community where black women are so aware, although it seems like it's only on a conscious level for most black women, because when you talk to them, they won't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
On a subconscious level, you know that black men have been thorough in showing the world that he doesn't like you, that he doesn't want to hate you, that he wants anybody other than you. That's what he's done. Because it's not just black women who think that. I understand it's not just black women who question whether black men like black women or have an interest in them and want to date them. It's everybody else too. Everybody else has the same consensus. So on one hand, they've done a good, thorough job of showing the world that they hate you, they think you're ugly, they think you're masculine, they think you're undesirable, they don't want you.
And yada, yada, yada.
And on the other hand, they've done a very thorough job. Because what's on the flip side of a black woman? If he's not with a black woman, who is he with? 9 times out of 10. If a black man is not dating or marrying a black woman, 9 times out of 10, he's with a white woman. To the degree that everybody naturally assumes that a black man is going to pick a white woman over a black woman, that is his preference.
And you know what? That's a really good point for you to drive home, because like how last week when we were talking about the marriage rate is already so low, a staggering 26%. And the dating out, the marrying out is such a high rate for the small rate, which is 15%. So the fact that 15% of that low number, that is a very big impact. So it's actually the natural response to ask whether or not they have a black wife or not, because they are not marrying. And when they are marrying, they're marrying out 15% of the time. So it makes sense. And that's really sad.
It is. And if there's only 26 of them, and then 15% of that 26% is marrying out, then that means in terms of the population of black men, there's a tiny amount marrying black women. A very small amount of black men marry black women. It just is what it is. And the fact that globally, people automatically assume, especially when a black man has money, before they assume he has a black wife, they're going to assume he has a white one. This is incredibly embarrassing. Like, I've never heard a white woman have to be in anybody's chat box. I've never seen it. And in reference to a white man, ask if he likes white women.
Yeah, I've never even could even perceive of them thinking. And as a matter of fact, when they find out that a white man has a wife outside of their race, it's usually treated like an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
It's
treated like an anomaly when there's a black male, wealthy black man who has a black wife. It's surprising to everybody, including black women.
Facts.
And I think for black women that should be a big problem. That should be a huge problem. Because listen, even if you're not consciously connecting the dots, your subconscious is. I don't think that woman in your chat box, I don't even think she even made that connection. Although she was basically checking to see if this black man married a black woman.
Yep.
Maybe instead of installing a water slide to get people to come back to work, all we needed to do was order lunch through EasyCater for everyone.
That does sound more productive.
How do you get people back to the office? EasyCater.
What if you could make a full-time living online, getting paid for your advice? You might not know this, but there is a surge of people launching brand new websites that are making between $5,000 and $10,000 a month, getting paid for their expertise and their knowledge. People like Drew DePaula, who sells a course about designing a beautiful home, or Kara Stein, who teaches people how to write a best-selling book, and Hunter Masters, who teaches guys how to dance with their wife.
For black women, it's like, okay, these men are known globally, and you know it on a subconscious level. They're known globally for not picking you, for not liking you. It's a part of the culture to disparage you and put other races of women up on a pedestal. And we just running. Listen, black women, you've done nothing, and I don't care what black men say. You've done nothing to black men to where you should ever have to question whether they like you, would date you, or want to marry you. That it would be understanding if that was a white man on her line, just like they did with Brian. It would be understandable to ask because he's calling in to comment on the black community. So yes, understandable to ask if anybody else is doing it. You should never have to ask if a black man would date or marry a black woman. I see it all the time though. I see it all the time. And look, we can say rejection is protection and all of this, and that's true. Obviously that's true, because these men are out here unhinged. But at the end of the day, the fact that you got to question whether he would date a black woman is a problem.
Yep.
A big problem. I honestly wish the chick who was in your chat box and asked that question, I really wish she was here, because I would like to talk to her and see if she even made that connection, because when I saw it, instantly what came to my mind is this is a problem.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm so glad that I really missed that one. But I'm glad that you said that, because Cynthia, I promise you, every time, I don't know why the men are always, they seem to like feel like they're sneaking past you or something when they call me. But a lot of them do call, and that's usually the question that the women, that's not the first time I've heard of women asking that in the chat box. They always ask, what is the race of his wife? Even like when Taz is doing panels and there are men over there, that's asked a lot. If it's a black man, they ask, is his wife black? That is a common question. That you
shouldn't even have to ask. It should go without being said. Like, here's the thing. Black men can say whatever they want to. Their actions speak very loudly, because that tells me black women assume that even in your mind as a black woman, your natural assumption is that he's not with a black woman. He's black, but let me check and see if he got a black wife. That means you know that these men don't like you.
Yeah,
that means you know.
There's layers to that, because remember the guy who just was murdered recently, the young Dolph dude. I was surprised. I was surprised that he had a black wife.
I was too.
A second layer, I was surprised that she was dark skinned. I was surprised that a wealthy black man. Well, I don't know if you can call him wealthy, but I know he had businesses. He had money or whatever. I was surprised that not only did he have a black wife, but she was definitely a black wife. She did not look like she had any admixture. You know what I'm saying? I was surprised. That's very rare these days.
It is, but it's very rare, and it happens with me too. It does happen with me. Every time I see a black man with a hashtag situation, I'm wondering, let me go look and find out whether he was a white woman worshiper. I naturally assume that he is. But it's not just us, it's the whole world. It's the whole world that naturally assumes, especially if a black man has money, that he likes white women, that he's with a white woman. And the only people who could have done that is black men. The only people who could have made the global perception of them is that they like anything other than black women. Black men have done that. So this is why I tell black women, and I ask questions like, what are black men doing to show that they like or love black women? Because it's not that they can't do anything. They can do a number of different things. They're doing it. They're sending the message on the reverse side. They're showing that they don't like you. They're doing it with other groups of women. Black men show the world that they love white women. Nobody is confused. Listen, I don't care. Find somebody in the Bermuda Triangle. They know that black men, the mystery.
Further, please do not come in here disrespecting the chat, please. Thank you kindly. You don't have to like her, but that's what I'm showing today. Okay? But don't say anybody who follows. You don't know who it. You got to respect people's wishes. If somebody in his chat likes them, they like them. You can't call them a clown, but you got to respect the people that's in the chat. Please. Thank you.
Spot. They know black men like white women. They know.
Did you say the Bermuda Triangle?
Yes, every girl. North Sentinel Island, they know. They know. Even though they're isolated, they don't got no TVs or no social media. They know.
They know in Antarctica.
They do. They all across the globe, they know that black man's number one preference is that white woman. And nobody did that except black men. Black men have spent years and decades expressing how much they like white women, starting with the Moors, which people may not know about them now, but even without the Moors, let's just talk about what black men have done since they got off the plantation to show how much they love white women. Can I tell y'all what they did 18 years off the plantation?
Hey, Nicole.
I can tell you about the number of different court cases that they did when they went. Shout out to Storm Monroe, definitely. Shout out to you, and thanks for being in here. We're going to have to arrange a discussion because I want to get your opinion on a lot of things, actually. And a lot of the stuff that I say. Yeah, I want to get Storm's opinion on a lot of stuff that I say. But I can tell you about the Supreme Court cases that they petitioned. We always only hear about Loving versus Virginia because they want to try to weaponize and say this was a black woman when it wasn't. She wasn't black. She didn't consider herself black, and she wasn't actually biologically black. Furthermore, she ain't the one who started the lawsuit. Richard Loving did. So anyway, there are numerous different cases of black men petitioning the Supreme Court, paving the way for Loving versus Virginia, in an effort to be with white women. And actually, there's that first part of that call I want to go over, Nyla, because he said something that really, it definitely didn't instigate me.
Carolyn?
Which call?
The caller with the dude, the high sex drive dude.
Oh, yeah. Girl, I was like, let me sit back because Sin gonna want this one. So I just let them dusty balls hang, honey. I'll let them talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it in a minute here, because I wanted to point that out. I'm gonna play it because there's a lot of things that I do want to comment on that. But if you, first of all, your male group, and the black men are the only male group, the only one who's known for loving everybody except the women that they come from. They're the singular only group who is known for that, the only one. In turn, we're the only group of women on the planet who have to wonder if the males that we give birth to will date you when they become older. because they're working overtime to show, and maybe they're feeling like they're only doing it to show white women. Like, you guys have seen these videos even with high school black boys where they're laying out flowers and doing these elaborate things just to ask a white woman to the prom, just to ask her to the prom. I used to see those videos all the time where black boys in high school were doing these elaborate things to go ask white girls to dances and stuff. So black men's actions are speaking. They're speaking very loudly. If the perception of the planet is that black men loves everything except you as a black woman, then it is because that is what he has worked to accomplish. That means black men, even whether it was intentional or not, and we know most of the time it's very intentional, but I'm still leaving a little bit of room for people to say, oh, well, whatever, they're confused, they're conditioned with all of the excuses that we keep getting. They're victims of white supremacy, according to, and I'm very disappointed that I have to say Frances Cresswell scene. I'm so disappointed that I have to say that. But yeah. I should throw Storm a link, actually, if he want to come up, but I don't know if he do, and I don't want to intrude on his time, and I know he plans stuff. So anyway, yeah, but that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. You shouldn't have to, black women. You shouldn't have to, because at the end of the day.
Well, hey guys.
All of these disclaimers and talk about not all, and they'll divide themselves into groups of Pookie and Ray Ray and educated lames, which, by the way, I was just watching Temptation, and that's what Tyler Perry did. You know, the marriage counselor, he was playing on this stereotype of the black woman who have this nerdy educated lame, but she ain't satisfied with him, so she go get with which technically he would qualify as an educated lame too, because he's a tech millionaire. Like, he was a tech guy. So he would still be an educated lame, but he act like a Pookie.
Yep.
But he act like a Pookie. So
that's what I'm trying to get.
I
women
said
to
that
stop
before too. That people like, I don't know what
as
you're talking about.
As a financial class, it's literally it's just a characteristic. It's a spectrum. And on that spectrum, it doesn't matter what your social economic background, what your education is, you can be on that spectrum. You can.
Yeah, because this dude was very accomplished in there. He obviously had to be really smart to start his own website. I think they called it Classmates or something to that degree. He had supposed to have been like the biggest tech guy since Mark Zuckerberg. So he technically was an educated lame too, but he ran around partying, snorting coke, and rotating women, and he was very abusive, both verbally and physically. But Tyler Perry played on that black woman, even though Jorny Smollett, she's not black, she's biracial. And it's clear that she's visibly biracial. She's not one of those women who you would mistake for not being biracial. You can look at her phenotype, you can look at her hair texture, you can look at her skin tone. Everything about Jorny Smollett says she's biracial. Now, she looked like her mama. So she, in her face, she do look like a black woman because she looked like her black mother. But you know she's biracial. Being used as a black woman. And these are some of the ways that I'm telling you how black men send these messages. They're always talking about people putting out propaganda against them. But look at the propaganda they put out against black women. Now, mind you, this educated lame that she was with was ignoring her. He forgot her birthday. She petitioned him several times to try to get him to be sexually compatible. He wouldn't do it. He didn't appreciate her. It was clear he didn't appreciate her. But the fact of the matter is, the way that Tyler Perry laid out this movie was educated lame, Pookie and Ray Ray versus black woman, because he doesn't have a lot of money and he's not the jawline select dude, because he was also taller than him and more muscular. Then it's putting that narrative out of, oh, a black woman can have a good black man,
truly in
and
the
she'll
bushes,
still cheat on him and violate her marriage for this Pookie. So these are some of the ways that black men send these messages out to overall society. to justify not liking you, to justify being treasonous. But we know that before Temptation, the marriage counselor came out, let's not even get on Tyler Perry.
Okay, now I got
in that movie. She should have. Why was she even in the movie?
Exactly.
Why was she even in the movie? Being very disrespectful to this black woman. Hey, Storm. Being very disrespectful to this black woman in this movie. But so Storm, what do you think about that? Because I saw that, and I guess I'll ask you: have you ever seen, when it comes to a black woman, or when it comes to a black man, especially if he have money, black women having to check to see if he's married to a black woman or if he likes black women? It sounds so ridiculous when I say it.
No, I mean, well, first off, I don't even know that many black men that have a lot of money. I know that's sad as fuck to say, but it's very true. So we got to start there. But the ones I know that are successful, that's usually the question that a woman would ask, like, does he even date sisters? Like, that's normally, like, it's kind of like, you know how, like, now in 2021 or whatever, we always ask the zodiac first?
Yeah.
It's like the second or third question. What's your zodiac? Do you date black women?
It's what's your number, what's your sign?
Because it's assumed that if he is successful, that he's not.
Somebody said like Jay Ellis.
Yeah, but see, you know, Jay Ellis didn't even want to tell y'all. He waited until that Insecure show was almost fucking done before he told y'all.
But because they know what they're doing. That black women are the cash cows. It's the same thing with Michael B. Jordan. It's like they and now I feel like Michael B. Jordan is doing these things like with Lori Harvey, and then he has this new movie coming out where he's with a black woman. It's like, but we already know in real life that ain't what you're doing. Like, that's not what you're doing.
I mean, that, and the one black woman he got with is like the whitest black woman that he could find. So I'm just saying, it's like, it ain't black for real, all the way real, don't believe that shit. But I don't know if you touched on this yet, Sin, but I think a lot of people, or somebody needs to talk about, they talk about educated lames when it comes to the black dudes, but what about the quiet and smart black girls that get overlooked as well? What about if you're a black girl and you ain't even got no booty? You've been overlooked your whole life by black dudes anyway. So it's just like a lot of times dudes will overlook the girls that actually like 4304 for a girl that will run circles around you and they get mad when they get screwed over.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that into. I'm really glad you introduced that, because like if you really think about it, that shows how well adjusted socially that black women are as opposed to black men, because we do have the educated lame class of black girls. They're not whining and crying and becoming incels, having, you know, meltdowns in public or on social media because they weren't chosen. They're not doing that. They're, you know, they're adjusting to their lives or either making the necessary changes, be it divestment, or whatever it is that they're doing. Black men just have an issue with making social adjustments, because like we don't see them saying, you know, I was the smart girl, or, you know, I was the educated girl, so nobody likes me because of that. Or even when the quote unquote educated lame, sometimes he's just unattractive and not able to cope with being unattractive and not being chosen. But women, if you are unattractive, you understand that, and you're like, okay, what you usually are going to do is, you know, exemplify the attributes that you have that are good. You're going to turn them up, and you're probably going to get with someone that's your equivalent on whatever level and go on about your business. But with black men, they can't seem to adjust.
Because you have to understand, men tend to want to, they tend to want a woman that's more attractive than them, and so a lot of times the issue is they're trying to date out of their league. Like she's not gonna find you attractive because maybe you're, you know, on the short side, maybe, you know, you chubby, and she don't, you know, she ain't attracted to man titties, whatever. Maybe you dress a little funny. Like it could be a lot of things, you know. Maybe your hairstyle don't fit your face. Who knows, right? But men don't really, or young boys, nobody's really explaining to them, like, no, you need to find a woman that matches you. Like Kevin Hart, to me, that's a very good example. I think his first wife was very attractive.
Yes,
but I think she fits him. Like, aesthetically, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Him and the second wife, it don't look right. And I know I'm not the only one to think that.
She does look like she looks like a adornment
Inoko
of sorts. She looks like an accessory. She does not. I've never heard anybody put it like that, but she does. She just literally looks like a piece of jewelry with him, and the other woman looked like she.
I did a video
like
on that too. Wow, women being men's jewelry.
And that's also one of the reasons why grown ass men like Kevin Hart. I'm trying to think what other grown black men just can't stop cheating. I can't think of it, but I'm sure there's plenty. But there's
all of them.
But that's another reason why they're always doing that, because they're just trying to relive their teenagehood. They're trying to relive. They're trying to punish all the pretty girls that turned them down. It all goes back to unresolved trauma. And then we ain't even gonna talk about if maybe they had a narcissistic mother or an abusive mother or an abusive father. They develop a repulsion towards black women at an early age, which can happen around age like 3 or 4.
Stamisha,
and then it don't matter what you do to him or how much you try to love him, he ain't gonna never really truly like you.
That's why I don't like y'all chat.
I blame Jay-Z.
Y'all
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just saying I blame Jay-Z because he's ugly and he got Beyonce, and so now all these ugly dudes think they're supposed to get beautiful women. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, first of all, hey Storm, hey Nyla, hey Sam.
Hey.
I just wanted to say something that I paid attention to. So I feel like a lot of black men lie about what they actually want, right? So you'll hear them always saying, "Oh, I want a woman that's down for me. I want a woman that's supportive. I want a woman that's gonna help me with my dreams and have my back and do all this and take care of my babies and all this stuff." But then when you are one of those type of women, a lot of times they chase after the women who are the whores. They'll say, "I don't want no slut. I don't want no whore." But then the girl that done gave head to the whole block, the girl that done slept with everybody and everybody know, that's the one everybody chasing. So my thing is this though. I believe that a lot of this started back when black men were exploited as the first porn stars, because if you look at all of those photos of what happened during the so-called quote-unquote slavery time, every time a black man was getting ready to be buck broken or he was on his knees getting ready to do something to massa, in that sort of way, somebody was always seemed to be standing there with a damn camera. They were literally the first porn stars. So it's like, it makes sense that they like women who are like out of pocket like that.
Well, a lot of men, whether they admit it or not, they just want a girl that all their guy friends want to get with. So they want to walk in a room and have everybody stare or drool over her or desire her versus just finding a woman that treats you well, which is what's most important.
But then they want to beat her up when she cheat on them. But all your friends look better than you, so what you expect?
Oh God!
Shit, good point there.
And can we just say, like men love, as Storm said, 304s. They love them. They like them, and I believe no matter what they look like, to be honest, because I've seen some of the most creative faces. Like, they've been saying, like they like them.
Oh, God.
But let me ask you this, Storm, because I asked a question. I asked it a while back, and I asked, what do black men do to show the world that they even like black women? We're not even talking about love, because you got to get to like first before you get to love.
Right.
And nobody, male or female, has been able to answer that question for me. Yet we can sit up here and we know that, like, just like how we all admitted it, we're surprised. Specifically, we have to check when a black man has money. We have to check to see whether he likes black women or not. So what do you think about that? About the fact that there's an absence of any example, yet they'll say all of this is untrue. Black men love black women. They'll even go so far as to say black men will die for black women. But then when it comes to giving an example of that, they can't find it. But yet we know globally, everybody assumes that Black men's number one preference is white women. It's not Black women. So like, what do you think about that from a male perspective? Because I've just been wanting to know, and the trash bags who call in are too emotional to answer.
Oh, wow. I'm going to say I don't really see any examples of Black men having to say or being taught to publicly declare that they like Black women. I just don't see that. I've never seen that.
No, they're not.
Like they're not showing you that in any way. And see, and sometimes women get this part confused. Just because he'll sleep with you don't mean he actually like you, because men will sleep with anything.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in prison they sleep with Badussi, so they will sleep with anything.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's the point of confusion for Black women, because they know that, and I mean, that was consistent, Queen, with your reading, is that Black women are thinking that because Black men are having sex with them, that equals love. And it's honestly, it's the same thing with Black men who date interracial. They will tell you that the reason they think all these other women like them and love them is sexual access. She'll have sex with me, so she must like me. If she's dating me, then that means she liked me. Why would I think I've even heard a Black man say, I think he made a call in and say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would a racist woman date a Black man? She can't be racist if she's dating me, not understanding this is about a kink. This is about her being able to dominate a man and flex her own dominance, which is something that was said in a book. I think what book did I get that out of, where a white supremacist woman was saying that really, in order for her to become dominant, she has to prove that she can dominate a male group. And what they're doing to prove that is essentially to dominate Black men. They have to first conquer and dominate males in order for them to be dominant themselves. It was supposedly this whole part of a whole plan for white women to become dominant oppressors. And in order to do that, they got to dominate Black men first. But the thing
But this is what they always want to overlook. Okay, she's not just with you because she likes you. Let's say she likes you. She may like you, right? She may. But she's also most likely rejected by her own community. Because when you are attractive to your own, when you are considered high on the sexual marketplace value scale, you don't have a reason to date out. And dating really any race out is going to be dating down for her.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, it's like with the women, these men do put them in this dominant position, because haven't you seen where the woman of no color knows that it doesn't matter that she's built like a certain mattress, it doesn't matter what it's simply because of her being white. They know this. They know that that the bar is set at their race and their race only.
But I'll go ahead, Queen, and I'll go next, because my thing is for Storm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it almost looks to me like a lot of Black men subconsciously recognize that those women are there to dominate them, because a lot of the interracial couples that I've seen throughout my lifetime, a lot of times the women are being physically abused. So like, why are you beating them up unless you're trying to flex some sort of form of dominance, like what that football player did to that white chick that we saw, on camera? It's like, that must be their way of flexing their dominance, because they know they can't dominate them in any other way.
Yeah, but if you look at the DV stats, it actually most of the time is the reverse. The woman is initiating it against the Black man. They put hands and feet on a Black man.
Not surprising.
Which is not surprising if you think about the fact that this is a woman who knows that she has social and racial superiority over these men. She knows that it doesn't even matter if she get with the Black man or not. She can still weaponize her men against them. So based on her privilege and her power in society, why wouldn't she be physically going upside his head? Why wouldn't she?
Because she can't.
She was doing it on a plantation to him and his children, so she would be. But I mean, here's the thing, because I think Black women don't really understand actions speak louder than words. Like, I think there was a woman who called in and she made some kind of excuse, the same excuse white supremacy somehow prevents Black men from expressing love for Black women, although I never see any white person around puppeting a Black man when he's going in on Black women on social spaces. I've yet to see a white person present during those puppeting them.
Well, we know that's the blueprint to success online anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's the blueprint. Excuse me. Just talk about Black women, and you will make $1 million. Like, that's, you guys are the blueprint.
Yep. I mean, it's the culture doesn't support public displays of affection for Black women. This is not something that's required in the Black male worshiping culture. It is required that way for Black women, which is why in society it's the reverse. Nobody would have to question whether a Black woman likes a Black man. Nobody. Ain't nobody about to question whether a Black woman is married. If she got money, ain't nobody questioning whether she want a Black man or not, or if she's married to one or not. Nobody questions that. Like, the other people in society, they don't get upset when Black women compliment Black men like they do when Black men compliment Black women, because Black women are constantly doing it publicly. Nobody, even though nobody's telling Black women, you need to make these public declarations of love for Black men, Black women do it. And rightfully, that is true. Nobody is teaching Black men that they need to, make these overt public gestures to show the world they like Black women. Likely, nobody's teaching them to do that with white women either, but they do it. They do it automatically.
They do it.
I was just
go ahead, Queen.
I was just gonna say that, like, it's kind of like if you like a certain type of car. If I like a Lexus or if I like a Cadillac, I'm gonna go and fucking buy it. It's that simple. If you like me, then you're going to. No one should have to teach anyone to express their like for something. We live in a society where we express ourselves through our likes. If I like your body, I'll go find a doctor who can give me that body. If I like that hair, I can go in a beauty supply store and purchase it. If I like something, I go out, I purchase it, and I adjust myself to what I like. So why do we have to teach these men to express like for the people that they're supposedly liking? If you like me, why do you need to be taught that? Just show that you like me. Like, what's the issue?
Well, I mean, damn, that's a good point. But I guess if you're still, I guess the issue would be too, Queen, if you're still going to get in the box anyway, then really it don't matter. Like, if you still give it up to me, whether I really show you I really fuck with you or not, then it don't. Because like
that part. But see, Storm, here's the thing, though. I'm different than the average Black woman. For me, I look at them as them giving me the tool. Listen, you can have the box if I want you to have it, but I look at them the same way they look at women. I could give a flying hell. I don't care. So give me what I want and we good. Just don't ask me for nothing. Don't ask me for 1 cent and we fine.
Yeah.
Well, damn.
Well, so my thing is that because it's my belief system that if somebody has to teach you that you need to make overt displays that you like someone, then you don't genuinely like them. It just is what like nobody. You don't got to teach me to express to somebody if I love them. Nobody has to teach me to do something to show that person that they're loved, because it's like they're not gonna.
One night.
With most people who understand what they should understand, if your words and your actions are not in alignment, then that means that you don't feel however you're saying that you're feeling. Because if you feel that way, it will be backed by your actions. Nobody said
that can't be taught. That can't even be taught. It's a natural expression, which is to your point. No one has to teach you this. It's something that you will express naturally.
You're doing it because you want them to know. You don't want whoever that person is that you have an affection for, you don't want them to have to question it. So if Black women have to question whether Black men like you, would date you, got a Black wife, and you don't have to question that with white women, then that's saying that Black men are primarily showing the world that they like white women naturally. Nobody told them to do it. They want white women to know that they have an affinity for them, and that's why they publicly advertise it. Likewise, they want black women to know that they don't like them, so therefore they publicly advertise it. They want the world to know that they don't like black women, they're not attracted to black women are masculine, black women are weaved out, or whatever. Everything that they're showing and they're expressing publicly, they're doing so because they want the world to know this. So now you have a contradictory narrative where black men want to call in and be like, oh, well, no, we do love black women. That's a lie. We like black women. What's the example? Oh, I don't know. Then you don't.
They never give you an example. Now, you know me, Cynthia, I always go back like to childhood, and I don't think a lot of women know just how many men walk around with body image and self-esteem issues as well. And so a lot of black boys from an early age, you wouldn't even think they would think like this, but they have it in their heads that they want, lighter children, mixed children when they get older. And that is another reason why you may see them not date y'all, or they'll date y'all when they broke, but as soon as they make money and they can have access to certain women, then they do. Because like, even when I was growing up, a lot of stuff that my grandmother said, and she still says to this day, I didn't know that shit was texturous. I didn't know that stuff was colorist. I didn't know. But she made those comments. She said what she said. Now, would you want me to repeat some of it? I can get your opinion, Cynthia, because I know you're gonna keep it real.
Yeah, you can, because my memory is, I was telling Queen early, something's wrong with my memory. Like my short-term memory, like I had a thought process. I was just about to lay something out and it just slipped away from me. So yeah, I do need you to repeat it. Okay. Well, like she used to say shit like, she used to talk about people with really coarse hair. So she would be like, damn, man, thank God, this side of the family, we don't have bad hair like that. But, you got hair like your daddy's side of the family. Or she, she didn't like the big lips. She definitely couldn't stand coarse hair. So it was shit like that my grandmother even taught my mom. You don't bring somebody home. You don't bring a man home that's nappy headed. You don't bring a man home that's dark. My grandmother used to say shit like, I didn't want dark, ugly kids. Like, she used to say shit like that. So just imagine black boys growing up hearing that as well. And they, they make certain... And they go out and gravitate towards the opposite of... Yeah, I do get that. Most black mothers that I know and that I've heard of discourage their black male sons from white women. They would tell them, if she can't use your comb, don't bring her home. Stuff like that. Like, don't bring no white chick to my door. So I do get that, where by osmosis, if you're discouraging the features that you have as a black person, then obviously your children are going to get the message that this is not what I need to go. It's the same thing with biracial people. Expecting a biracial person to be pro-black, but you as a black person show the non-black person. What does that say to the child by default? That my black parent, even though they got a whole entire group of black people, they chose someone that don't look like them. So automatically that's going to say something to that biracial child, just like if the mother is doing that to a black child, it's going to say something to that black child. But at the end of the day, when it comes to because it's like, fine, you can like something else and like your people too, fine. But at the end of the day, the only affection that black men are showing is towards non-black women. That's the only affection. It's kind of like the thing where, and I'm only saying it, I'm going to yield, but I'm just saying it because I'll forget it in a second. Have you guys seen some of those elaborate videos of proposals or social media posts where a black man will be proposing to his non-black wife? Because they have to promote those too, of course. They have to promote, I'm marrying this white woman. This is how I propose to her. In the comment section, black women will be like, he would never do that for a black woman.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
They will acknowledge that he won't do this. So
I'm about to eat my breakfast.
Consciously that black men are giving even a different type of treatment to these women that they would never give to us. But still, and yet, black women are in denial about what's being shown to them. Like, why do you think that is?
Can I
No. I think so.
I think I personally think that like you said earlier, Cynthia, about how you can like your own and like other stuff too. Like if I like ice cream, I don't necessarily have to always have chocolate ice cream just because chocolate is my favorite. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I might want some strawberry, I might want a little caramel, or some butter pecan or something, right? And the issue is, regardless to whatever a grandparent said or your parents said about your features or nappiness or whatever, the truth of the matter is, if they liked Black women, they would show some form of expression that would let us know that. We wouldn't have to sit and have panels like this trying to guess and figure out what they like about us. Secondly, I think that the reason that they do what they do when they go to these Black Lives Matters movements and things like that, and they go and they propose to these women in front of us, I really think they flexing on Black women, because when we look at the data, they ain't getting nothing. Okay, it's cute when you get down there and propose, but you still beating them up, you still leaving them single parents, you still divorcing them, they still going through the same thing Black women going through. So they ain't getting no different experience. So I mean, what are you? Okay, you proposed, and
can I take it back off of back to what Storm said about the grandmother with the futurist comments and stuff? I think that sometimes when we talk about that, sometimes we miss where that comes from. I understand that was your grandmother that was making those statements, which would discourage you from getting with, not to say that it actually discouraged you, but it would have discouraged the average Black man from being attracted to or wanting to procreate with the woman that had the quote unquote hair type and phenotype that your grandmother was talking about, right? But let's talk about why your grandmother said that. Okay, if she had a fear of, or a disdain for the nappy, maybe it wasn't that she hated that hair texture. Maybe it wasn't that she disliked or did not find those attributes beautiful. Maybe that is a defense mechanism as a result of being rejected for having those things by Black men. Because the only person that's ever called me nappy head in my life was a Black man. Okay, I've only, you see what I'm saying? So I could only imagine, especially during those times when it was, I feel like colorism probably was even worse then. You know what I'm saying? Like even more overt, especially with signs. Imagine a woman not just thinking of the future. Because me, like as a grandmother, you do think about the next generation and what's going to happen and all this kind of stuff. So you think about those things. Do I want my next generation to be belittled for having nappy hair? Do I want them to be belittled for having a big nose? So no, I'm going to tell my sons, don't get with women that look like me so that they don't have my experience. So a lot of times when we hear that, we will say, oh, that's just a self-hating grandmother, because a lot of the manosphere talking points are centered around the grandmother who said, don't bring home no dark skin, people, or no nappy head people, but not digging down and drilling into where that came from. That came from a rejection of those features by men. She was just trying to avoid the inevitable, or avoid, people experiencing what she herself had witnessed, if not experienced her own self.
Yeah, I mean, I could only imagine, what she went through, because she grew up in the 50s, 60s, whatever. So I could just only imagine, you know what I mean? And even like when I came along, the guy that my mom dated before me, he was mixed, but he looked white passing, you know what I'm saying? Like a very, very much white passing. And my grandma wanted my mom to marry that dude, but my mom didn't. And then she got with my dad, and my grandma she couldn't take it. Like she couldn't. We cool now, but she couldn't take it. So, you're right to imagine what she probably went through. I'm even looking at her life choices, and she never even dated a dark-skinned dude until after she had a hysterectomy. Like, she made sure she would never procreate with a dark-skinned dude.
I'm only going on the match.
Go ahead, Queen. That's fine. Go ahead. I was gonna say, it's interesting that y'all brought that up, because like my grandfather on my dad's side was like midnight black, and my grandmother was like Nyla's color.
And when we were kids, I remember them talking, and I remember my grandfather saying things like, you supposed to be out playing. I was like that nosy kid that was always in the grown folks' business, hiding somewhere listening. And my grandfather used to say to my dad that my grandmother opened a lot of doors for him because his skin was so dark back then. A lot of doors would get shut on his face, but because my grandmother had more fair skin, and she had the silky hair, and she looked exotic even though she is a pure black woman. My grandfather would send my grandmother to do a lot of his deeds because she was more socially accepted. So that makes a lot of sense.
Well, it did, and especially when you had during that time, it was becoming like you had the biracials around. You had some of the biracials who were white passing, and all of those things play into that too. But Storm, when you said when I had asked about black women, I didn't get to hear what you were saying because I think we both tried to talk at the same time. When I said, why do you think black women, even though they can look at these things that black men are doing for other races of women, and they can acknowledge that a black man wouldn't do the same thing for them. They're giving, to their perception, they're giving better treatment to white women, but they still choose black men and vie for his attention. I didn't get to hear what you said in response to that.
I just think it's just like a part of being in denial. Like nobody, you don't really want to sit down and come to terms with the fact that these group of people really don't like you like that. I think it's denial. Because it's
I think it is too. I want to read this comment that a black woman put out there, and I know Queen, I know you go be familiar with this. So there was a black woman in the comment section. She said, "We choose them because we want children that look like us." You're choosing men, though, that you acknowledge don't even like you or your children. They don't even like, a lot of them don't even want the children because they look like you.
Yeah.
But you're choosing these men that you acknowledge you can't even think of a way that they're showing that they like you. They're promoting these other women over you. You acknowledge that they're doing other things for other women that they wouldn't do for you, but you're choosing them because you want children that look like you.
She's saying she wants children that looks like them, and he's telling her he doesn't want those children to look like either one of them.
Right.
So you're gonna screw yourself over. He's probably not gonna stick around. Like it's not smart on her.
You know what? I'm getting real sick of these black women with this delusional shit. That's why I'm finna do a reading on what the hell is wrong with them. Because here's the thing. If you look at the data, right? The black women who are, a lot of them, who are getting pregnant by black men are being taken out with the babies in their belly. Some of them like 8, 9 months pregnant. They taking them in, the babies out. Okay, they turning on them,
He was
taking them out in mass
differently.
numbers. Then when you do have children with them, the likeliness that you're going to end up with that child by yourself,
okay, sweet,
paying for everything, doing everything, trying to teach this child everything. It's probably about like 85-90% at this point. Like, what benefit are you giving to the child? How selfish
And he also
is that?
said that
Like,
he
you are
date men.
that comment, she is very, very.
What you were saying, Queen?
He also said that he date men.
Now, Caroline said Storm was on Tommy. I saw that, the picture, and was talking totally different. Hey, party music, disc jockey. I'm going to send a link to Sean's video.
That's before he got all these women backing him and women going for him, but he don't really show no interest in, even in the people in the chat. He don't even show interest in the opposite sex other than talking. And then he'll get to saying girl and saying just talking that way, and it just sounds weird. Trying not to say too much about the man.
Well, say what you gotta say. He already has a name.
It takes Sean David Way to tell you about Stormisha.
Selfish. If you're not going to look at the patterns and behaviors of
Let
what
me
is
just put in
before
Sean
you,
Davy.
you see what these men are doing to these children who quote unquote look like them. How selfish are you to ignore that and just, oh, I want my baby? That's just like with people who make interracial children. Are you not thinking about the mental illness and confusion that comes with these children? Or you just
Oh my gosh, it's like straight up Houdini. Her stomach literally did.
or how beautiful their skin is. That's what you care about. But these children growing up needing therapy and needing mental illness pills because you selfish. That's selfish.
Well, she says she wants to come up and explain herself. So if you send me, just email me and I'll respond and give you a link so you can come up and explain yourself. Because I think that's interesting. Listen, I get it. That's the natural. The natural thing is to want children who look like you, but at some point you have to adapt your wants and desires and needs to the circumstance that you're in, especially your children. Because if these men, if you're having a child, and just like Queen said, these men don't like them, just like Storm said, they don't want them to look like them. You need to be considering that though. Because at the end of the day, really black men are giving most of them, because we know there's a small sector. We do have to acknowledge that there's a small sector of good black men. There is, obviously. But they're giving you enough reasons to not even get pregnant by him. Why you still want to get pregnant by him?
But Cynthia, think about it this way. You think a dude is going to stick around for something he don't like? Or something he didn't?
He's not.
He's not.
Right. That's the point. And that's the point. And then what kind of trauma does that bring to the child as well? Because these children get older and then they end up hating their skin. They hate their color. They don't know what they are. Am I black? Am I white? What am I? It's like, stop making these decisions based off what you want. Don't nobody give a damn about what you want. What about these children? What the hell do they want? What's best for them?
But your child can be biracial and look like you. I think what she's saying is that she wants fully black children who got dark skin, or brown skin to dark skin. She wants a child who has a certain complexion, because your child can still look like you and be biracial. It just is what it is. Like I see it in my nephews. They look like their mom, but they got a white dad. But they look like her, and they are brown. They do look like her. They're obviously her sons. You can just look at their face and see her in them. But what they want is the blackness. They want them to visibly look black. They don't want a racially ambiguous child. And again, that's natural. Nobody's saying that that's wrong normally, but for the context of the situation, yeah, it's wrong. You should want your child to have the best experience that they can have, not just have a certain skin tone. Like you need to want the children to have a father that's going to be there, not just a father because he's a black sperm donor and he's going to give you a black genetic code. It's just like, at some point.
And some damn asset. I mean, are we not tired of being on the bottom of society?
Yeah. So I want to play this beginning part, and I think Nyla, we can do a full breakdown tomorrow, because even right now I only have an hour, so I don't have time for us to really delve into it, and I want to, but I want to play the beginning part because I really want Storm's opinion on this, since this is a man saying these things, and I'm just like, okay. But I want to play the beginning part of this because something really stuck out to me about it. I got to see if this is the part where he comes in at. But hold on, let me see.
Yeah. Okay.
No, this is Kevin's part.
How can a woman actually tell a boy, look, I know you're going through puberty. I know you want to have sex.
Okay, this is him.
You're going to have to practice on wearing condoms. This is how I don't know too many. We can't have sex. Okay, real quick. Now, you said, is it single moms or dominated absent dads? Okay, I'm a dominated absent dad. I'm going to tell you why. I did not protect my sperm. I didn't even know it had value. I was just a horny black dude looking to gut anything. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm letting you know is this is how we grow up. We're playing uni league football. We're playing basketball. By the time we get hair on our nuts, we're crazy as hell. We got this woman in the house we can't have sex with, our mom. We have grandmothers around. We have sisters around. We're dealing with all kinds of shit that we don't have any advice for what we're going through. So I'm going to have to say it's the dominated dads. It's the dominated absent dads' fault. So what I'm letting you know is now that we're here at this point, think about it. How can a woman actually tell a boy, look, I know you're going through puberty.
So do you remember that part, Nyla, where he starts talking about we have all these options. We're not, on a plantation anymore. We're liberated. They got the option to have sex with all these non-Black women.
Yeah, I think that part where he's basically telling Black women to divest, that part.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the call. That's the end of his call.
Oh, okay, towards the end. So I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, he made that statement before he got into. He thinks Black women should, because there was. Aside from him saying this part that you heard, absolutely, Storm. If you want to pick that apart from a man's perspective, absolutely.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, did he say a woman in the house he can't? Did he want to have sex with his
Yeah,
mother?
that's what I was about to say, Storm.
I felt like that was I felt like the only reason why he wasn't going to have sex with his mom or his sisters or his aunt is because they wouldn't let him.
Okay, where's the sound? Where's the damn sound? I still ain't got no sound. Ooh.
Let me go on mute and try to find this part, and then you guys can talk.
Oh, that was her.
How we grow up. We're playing uni league football. We're playing basketball. By the time we get hair on our nuts, we're crazy as hell. We got this woman in the house we can't have sex with, our mom. We have grandmothers around. We have sisters around. We're dealing with all kinds of shit that we don't have any advice for what we're going through. So I'm gonna have to say it's the dominated dads. It's the dominated absent dads' fault. So what I'm letting you know is now that we're here at this point, think about it. How can a woman actually tell a boy, look, I know you're going through puberty.
So do you remember that part, Nyla, where he starts talking about we have all these options. We're not, on a plantation anymore. We're liberated. They got the option to have sex with all these non-Black women.
Yeah, I think that part where he's basically telling Black women to divest, that part.
Yeah.
That's at the end of the call. That's the end of his call.
Oh, okay, towards the end. So I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, he made that statement before he got into. He thinks Black women should, because there was. Aside from him saying this part that you heard, absolutely, Storm. If you want to pick that apart from a man's perspective, absolutely.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, did he say a woman in the house he can't? Did he want to have sex with his
Yeah,
mother?
that's what I was about to say, Storm.
I
That's
felt
what he
like that was
said.
I felt like the only reason why he wasn't going to have sex with his mom or his sisters or his aunt is because they wouldn't let him. Because that's what it sounded like. He was like, you're in the house with these women and you can't have sex with them. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Oh my God.
It was a really interesting. I let him talk. I think he might have talked uncontested for about 25 to 30 minutes, and it was an earful.
We might be able to break that down. If it's just 25, 30 minutes, we should be able to do that.
It might be. I was so tired, so it might be longer, but it was at least 30
Yeah,
minutes.
it seemed like it was longer when I was listening to it. It seemed like it was more 30, 40 minutes. It seemed like it was longer.
We would have to do it standalone to break down because it's a lot. He said a lot.
But you know what, though, ladies, the amount of dudes out here that act like they want to have sex with their mothers is alarming. Like, that shit is sick.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
But I want to go through this part because he said something that's really that I really want to dig into this one part that he said. But go ahead, Storm, because I'm gonna have to let me go on mute and try to find this part, and then you guys can talk.
I was gonna say, I just think that a lot of ladies out there need to stop like coddling their sons. Stop calling sons your king. Your son is not your king. Stop saying he's a man of your house. Like, I don't know how he grew up. I don't even know if he was touched. I don't know if there's inappropriate boundaries or lack of boundaries. But for him to say his mom and his sisters, girls in the house you can't have sex with, that shit is just weird to me.
It is.
Yeah, and somebody said in the chat, Marlon Wayans. Marlon Wayans is a great example. He purposely never got married because he said his mama was his only girl. That shit is sick.
Does it kind of remind you of Kodak Black and his mom? Remember how like they were dancing and he had his hand all over her butt and stuff and was patting her on her butt. It was just really weird. And they've had like exchanges that have been caught like on IG and stuff like that just it was wrong for a mother-son relationship.
I agree. And I almost felt like they had actually done something before because he was way too comfortable.
Way too comfortable.
You know what though, y'all? Some of it is those stereotypes because like, okay, so like when I was married, the way that my household ran, it's like, you know, my ex-husband was a great cook. You know, I didn't cook all the time. You know what I mean? If the laundry needed to be washed, somebody just washed it. It wasn't no thing where, oh, you the wife, so you do this. And like, think about the way that the way that men date, like black men, the way that they even date women. They want you to do everything, and then a lot of times they ain't even paying the damn bill. They want you to cook. They want you to cook. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Even the women that they look for, it's like when you're a strong woman, you're like, ain't nothing wrong with your hands. I cook the food. You can make your plate, nigga. Like, what the hell wrong with you? You know what I mean? They look at you like, oh, you're too aggressive. Oh, you're too manly. No, I'm not. I went out. I prepared the food. I marinated it. I cooked it. Why you can't go make your plate? Like, what is the problem?
It's literally what Storm just said, because I've seen that, like women calling their sons the man of the house, the king of the castle. And again, when you give any man or just anybody, if you give people unwarranted praise and accolades, what do you think they're going to do with that? You're giving them some sort of entitlement that they did not earn or deserve. So it's going to bite you in the butt, and it's wrong. And to me, it's anti-woman. Okay, you are against other women if you are giving kingly praises to someone that has not earned that title, because he's going to go out looking for that, expecting that, and is going to get really angry when he can't produce those types of, you know, when he don't get it. I remember, and like, just thinking back to the Kodak Black, that was a time when I showed that, some woman came into my comment section and she was like, oh, it's because he's Haitian. And, she was like, don't come for Haitian men, only talk about Black American men because they have a special relationship with their moms and you'll never understand it. And I'm like, I swear before Jesus and 12 white men. That's what that girl, that's what she said. Like, she
I
found
the whole
video.
I found it. It's about 5 minutes into your discussion with him. And listen, let me just listen. Let me just play it. Because I can't.
I know.
Play it.
And before you run down this road, let's find a way to get that energy useful in other places. See, when you have a mom there, she's the only one. So therefore, all he sees is feminine energy. He sees maxi pads, hair products. He doesn't see any kind of male shaving cream. He's not next to.
Let's talk about your pits. Most antiperspirants have ingredients you can't even pronounce, but it's hard to find a natural deodorant.
What I'm saying is it's going to be the man at all times because we run this whole world. So we're responsible for everything, and that's why we have to be able to have men around to talk to other young boys. But saying that, I'm just letting you know women are deciding to let us fuck wrong. And you know that's all we want to do. For the most part, we don't hate y'all. But now that Emmett Till shit is gone, we just want to be able to get with anybody we want to get with as far as black, white, Asian. And now we don't have to worry as much as we used to back in the day about getting our asses whooped. And I want black women to divest, not leave totally. I want you to be able to have options. You should be able to marry to an Asian man, Hispanic, black or white, because now is the time. We try to talk about how we're low percentage and how our population is not increasing. You want to know why? We have not set up this perimeter around this so-called white man. We don't even want to interact with the white man or the white woman. We got people talking, oh, don't bring it home if you can't use your comb. Nah, man, them days is over with. We got hella options. We got crypto. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's on this whole new thing. So now we're out of that slavery shit. I don't believe in slavery. That's some volunteer shit. No man could ever fuck me in my ass in front of my family without breaking my goddamn arms and breaking my legs apart in front of my children. And then you can have it at that point because I'm damn near dead.
Now, I'm going to stop there because this is what stood out to me. Now that this whole Emmett Till shit is over, so he said now that we done with the civil rights movement, now we get to have sex with whoever we want to. The reason this stood out to me is because if you go over old statements from civil rights leaders before this dude was born, no doubt, they also were relating sexual access to non-black women to now we have options. Essentially, we're free. Essentially, now we off the plantation, we free, we got rights and options, and those are that we get to have sex with non-black women. That stood out to me the most because this is a younger black man holding the same mentality, basically relating sexual access to people who are not black. And he put the focal point around whiteness because he said that, you know, black people act like they're afraid or whatever. Now he can say white, black, Asian or whatever, but we know that whatever the ethnicity of the woman is, black men are going to find the whiteness side of it. They're not going to find Asians who look like them. They're not going to find Hispanics who look like them. They don't want to date them. They want to date the white ones. So you have yet again another black man relating freedom and options and all of this progress to the ability to have sex with white women. And he just want black women to join in too.
Well, damn, and now I'm just like, well, damn, are you gonna tell me that the civil rights movement was really just to fuck white women?
I think it was.
I do too.
Wow.
I've been saying it was.
She's been saying that for a while. I mean, you know, they had the interracial marriage movement, black men that is, before, like about 3 or 4 years before the civil rights movement was the interracial marriage movement.
And ain't Emmett Till the one who basically sparked off the full-blown civil rights movement?
The civil rights movement started. It was between him and the death of Robert Lee in Belzone, Mississippi. A lot of people don't know, but yeah, that started. That's what sparked it.
So to me, him saying Emmett Till means now that the civil rights movement is over, we've done all this fighting, now we get to go lay in a bed with white people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how we go soft stuff is to go lay in the bed, because he's sitting up here talking about our numbers declining. So basically you running with the narrative that you go solve racism and increase your numbers, what, by having sex with white people?
That's what he said.
And then the underlying theme is, for them, bondage was being with black women.
Mm-hmm.
That was their, when they are likening their freedom to having to be limited to being with the women of their own group. That's bondage to them. Now they are free. Free as in able to...
Didn't Nick Cannon say the same thing too? Now that I'm thinking.
He sure did. He sure did.
Mm-hmm. See, and I've said this before. Most black men realize that the only weapon that they have sits in between their legs, and they use it.
I don't even think when it comes to white women, they're using it as a weapon. I think that they will say that to black women because then, you know, if you're trying to breed out your oppressor through the room of their woman, black women will believe that. And clearly black women believe that because they accept white women's biracial children as black, essentially saying that a white woman can give birth to you as a black woman. All she needs is a black man. So black women will accept that. And I think that that's why they're saying it.
I don't think they're using it as a weapon against white women. I think they're using it as a weapon against
white women. Oh, yeah. No, definitely. They are. Yeah, they're definitely using it as a weapon against black women, no doubt. Yeah. But I don't think it's a coincidence that we keep hearing these black men, because even that dude on Tanya TKO's channel that we talked to, Julius, he was saying the same thing. You know, a black woman doesn't look good on a black man's arm like a white woman do. That white woman can get him yes. He said that. He said that. A white woman looks better on the arm of a black man than a black woman do. So you have all of these things that black men are saying and doing, their actions align when it comes to white women. When they speak about what they think about white women and then they put it into action, it's in alignment. But still and yet, black women will not face reality. They won't face reality. It's like black women they just ain't gonna do it. We're not gonna see what it really is. And that's not me saying every single black man has this mentality where white women is this sign of progression, because even if we continue with this call, this dude, everything focused around sex. Everything, 100%. He didn't say, you know, now that Emmett Till stuff is over, now we have the option to build. Now we have the option to establish dominance. Now we can finally express ourselves as the kings and warriors that we rightfully feel like we should be. Oh, now we can have sex with white women.
Oh, and you know, Cynthia, I don't know if you saw, they told me up about the king stuff on my channel, because I'm not calling people kings and we don't have no kingdom. We don't have no palace. Where is the palace?
Yeah.
and if you're gonna call yourself that, you got to carry yourself that way. So you made me think of that. But you know what? You're right. It's all centered around sex. I just never put two and two together when it came to the civil rights movement. So that means that ain't nothing to be proud of then.
No, it's not. It's not.
So what do we have to be proud of? Because
nothing. Shit. Nothing, Storm.
Damn.
Because you got people from Quincy Jones and all of, like, even reading the statements from some of those, even the black male celebrities who were tied into the civil rights movement that time, they were in interviews explicitly saying freedom and liberation is being able to marry a white woman. Like Quincy Jones said, and he kind of said it too. Now we don't have people telling us who we can be with. Now that Emmett Till shit is over. And then he minimized it and act like it was a minor inconvenience to him. It's like, really?
But you know what, Cynthia? That goes in direct correlation with that reading that I did about if black men could not have access to black women, to white women anymore, or women of other nations, what would be their reaction? And I started having that vision about the oracles telling the women that the boy children will grow up and betray them. And you think about the laws of karma. If these women were so loyal to these men children who grew up to destroy the entire black civilization as we see it today, what would be the outcome of their karma? I mean, now black men are in the same position. They can't even see that their enemies are the ones that they're glorifying. And black women have the same issue when it comes to black men. They can't see that black men are their biggest enemies. They can't see that they're the biggest threat to them. They can't see that they're murdering them at rates that are historical. They don't. It's like everybody's freaking blind.
Yeah, I want this Monica chick to come up because she said, "Don't confuse Dusties with fact and logic." I want you to come up here so I can tell you what the facts are.
What part of what that meant was fact and logic? Because he put like 7-8 ideas together in the 5 minutes that you played, Cynthia, and I was trying to figure out how he got from wanting to have sex with his mom to talking about civil rights. I don't know. That
yeah, it was weird. Yeah,
that was weird. That was strange.
But you know what, Storm?
Yeah,
That's their
that
logic a lot of time. Yeah, they do that a lot, Storm. It's very interesting to watch how they make sense of these weird things in their mind. It's for somebody whose mind thinks properly, it's really strange.
So is this what y'all deal with on a regular basis? Like
Every day.
Basically, when they call in, yeah. Like even with the Caribbean dude who called in and he automatically related femininity and glamour to Marilyn Monroe. And then he tried to twist it and say, well, he's not making that association. He said something to the effect that he's just giving an example of the look that black women are trying to mimic. But even if that was the case, you're still associating that with that white woman. She's still the example. In your mind, that's still the primary example of that. Whether you're using it to say her look is what's being mimicked or whatever, you're still associating that look, that femininity, that glamour with that white woman.
First off, Marilyn Monroe wasn't she
Hey,
a heroine
T-Tree.
that
Hi,
before?
sweetie.
Is that what he said?
And her husband said that she did not shower.
Reputation. That was the reputation she had.
They said she
wasn't even, and she wasn't even a natural blonde, so she was even trying to mimic something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That if you just think about what Marilyn Monroe's reputation was, everything that was attached to her by reputation is the exact thing the black.
Get an instant breast lift with this innovative adhesive bra. This innovative invisible bra is revolutionizing the beauty.
Black men say they don't want. And yet in this man's mind, he even went on to say that he thinks she was very glamorous and very feminine. And it's like, okay, well, these are the traits, some of the behaviors that she engaged in are the very behaviors that black men say is the reason why they won't date black women. It's because they're so-called gold diggers, promiscuous, unsubmissive, willing to set a man up, wanting to put the best men. So everything that woman was supposedly doing is against black men, but they were going to wipe it away because of the whiteness of her skin, or what was the whiteness of her skin.
They just don't. It's just too about whatever they can easily access and whatever is white. Because if they are being in any ways introspective about her persona and her actual character, most of the time when she was singing, when we the famous times we see her singing, she was high, slurring. She was not bright, which I know she did live a very troubled life, but I also think that they like women to have a certain level of vulnerability and neediness, almost childlike, so that they can then dominate, and so that she could be easier for them to secure. I think they like women in weakened states like that. I believe that that's attractive to them.
And she also slept with teenage boys in the mafia.
Yep.
Wow.
She literally was a pass around. I mean, the books that her house staff Joe DiMaggio, one of her husbands, he said that she smelled so bad he used to have to beg her to shower. He used to have to beg her to shower. And like she just does, she's everything nasty.
And she was not submissive at all.
No,
she wasn't.
Most white women aren't. Yeah, most white women aren't. They are not.
No.
So the person who is super chatting me and saying you were in Nyla's channel, that's fine. Just email me for the link, which I just sent you the link. So you should be taking the link and coming up. But you know, I think that because when I do this content, it's really not for Black men. Black men already know their mindset. They're very well aware of their behaviors and their mindset because, again, the stuff that they're doing is deliberate. Even when a Black man gives a Black woman a compliment, you will have an influx, or what that white woman called a landslide, of Black men in the comment section disparaging Black women. So they're being very deliberate about what they're doing. Even when they promote other groups of women, they're being very deliberate about that. They're trying to send certain messages. Yet, despite how loud and clear these messages are, if you really talk to Black women, they have an awareness of this. It's quite obvious they have an awareness of it, because when you say things like, "Oh, he would never do that for a Black woman," "Oh, I wonder if his wife is Black, or if he dates Black women, or if he likes Black women," which you should never have to question if it's a Black man. Nobody else has to. But even though they know these things, there's still this unwillingness, because even this chicken here, who is trying to minimize what's going on because her Black male worshiping programming is activating as if she's under MP Ultra and somebody flipped the switch for her. As she's sitting up here talking about, don't mistake Dusty for fact. It's like, really? So you're going to basically say that the only person saying this is this man on the phone, when I just told you, not only is there numerous Supreme Court cases, the first one, 18 years after the abolishment of slavery, where Black men went to the Supreme Court to even get access to white women. Never once did they go to the Supreme Court to get you out of Jim Crow. Then you had all of these civil rights leaders who, if you listen to their interviews, they're relating. We ain't gonna even get on. We ain't even gonna get on. What's his name? Darth Vader voice. James Earl Jones. Let's not even that. We ain't even gonna get on him.
Yeah.
Let's not even get on James Earl Jones, because he's been very, very vocal all the time about what it is. So Black men have been telling Black women generation after generation what it is. And then for you to come in here and say, don't mistake Dusty's words for fact, as if this is not documented and recorded in history several different times, it's just silly. Like, why would you even do that?
You know what the problem is? I think that when white folks said that they coined a statement that if you want to hide something from a Negro, you hide it in a book. I think that is a very true statement, and it's something that they noticed about melanated people a long time ago. Black people don't read, they don't fact check, they don't go pick up nothing to look at any documented information. If somebody says it, and especially if it's a Black man, child, you might as well just act like God wrote it himself.
What was really interesting, and we probably don't got time to get through it because I would have to find it again, because this man said so many crazy things. I was listening to it as he sat on here and talked about, sex, basically. Everything for him was sex, whatever.
He is hypersexual.
Yeah, he was. And as he was talking, I was thinking, and then Nyla said it in her live stream, but I was thinking, so basically then everything that was said about Black men and the birth of a nation wasn't propaganda, it was actually fact. And I think he even agreed to it. Didn't he even agree?
How do you order food for the office these days? How? Easy.
Agree to it, Nyla?
He agreed.
Yeah, you're a little borgy, but
you try? Oh.
Nyla, you're borgy.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, messed up a little bit.
Is it back? Is it better?
Yeah, it's back.
Okay, so I was saying, I even asked him, he did agree that it's true that most black men are sexual deviants. He even said that he wouldn't trust other black men around his daughter because
Yeah.
he feels like the majority of black.
Okay, you cut out again. Nyla's en route, obviously.
Oh damn, yeah. I think she went out. There it is.
Yeah, she's gone out. She just hit the dead zone.
Well,
okay, she went on mute, so you can go. You can go ahead and go, Storm.
I will say I agree that the majority of black men are hypersexual. That's I almost want to say that's the culture we're raised in, and you're looked at as weird if you're not hypersexual. So, but that's more probably from other black men than anything. I don't know. I would need to dig deep into that and really, it's true, but I really need to think about this.
You know what?
His whole spiel was about sex, and it started with wanting to have sex with his mother, which is still flipping me out.
You know what?
Thank you so much, Diane Flynn-Ori. I want to acknowledge you guys who are sending super chats. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I haven't got to get to them, and I might not even be able to read them before I get off here. I'm gonna try to, but thank you so much. Thanks, Diane Flynn-Ori, so much for the generous super chat. Somebody else sent another super chat like that too, and thank you so much. Sorry, you guys, I'm not purposely ignoring it. We're just kind of going with the flow of the conversation, and it's hard, to stop in between it and then respond to super chats because I will lose my train of thought. I'm telling y'all, I need to get some ginkgo biloba or sleep for a day because my brain is messing up right now.
It happens.
I was gonna comment on what you said, Storm. Like my dad was born in the 50s, in like 53 or 54, and I do recall when I was a young girl that he was like very, very overly protective of me and my sisters when it came down to like who we dated and what type of guys we brought around and stuff like that. But my dad was like a whoremonger. Like every weekend when I went to visit him, there was a different woman in his house. Every single weekend. So like what kind of mixed messages are you sending to your daughters by telling us, no, you don't date that type of guy, you don't date that type of guy, you don't date that type of guy, when most children go after somebody who is like their dad or their mom. You know what I mean? But when I come to your house every weekend, you got a different damn girlfriend or whatever they were. I don't even know what they were. But it's just like, what type of message is that? You know what I mean? I do think that black boys are taught to use sex as a weapon. I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think so too. And when they don't, they get ridiculed, and so they go that way to make sure that they aren't ridiculed. So it's definitely taught.
Yeah, it is. But it's like this dude here. Yeah, this dude was just like any black man who would say, now I haven't seen the original Birth of a Nation video. I've only heard about it. But anytime you agree with the narrative and what was said about black men and the original Birth of a Nation, your mind's gone. You got a problem somewhere in your psyche. Because didn't they say that was what led to like the lynchings? Was that
yes, that was the justification for the lynchings. That's that the whole black brute imagery of white women being unsafe because they were black men were supposed to have these abnormally large penises, so they couldn't control their sexuality, so the women were not safe. So yeah, it started a whole barrage of lynchings and all kinds of things, and even a retaliatory effect went to black women being raped in anticipation of them, or as punishment, for what they thought they might do to their women or might have been going on with their own women.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick.
Yeah, it was really bad. And here's the thing though, like being in this space now for 3 years, I realized that they don't mind. They mean the majority of black men that I.
When you've got a craving for Asian food, make it traditional.
Encountered on this platform don't mind being looked at as sexually deviant. Of course, they're not classifying it that way, honestly, like the man did that called in, but most of them literally will find sex in any equation, in any, no matter what you're talking about. And like even thinking about, as he talked about this, because we're talking about male behaviors, men having basic natural instincts of masculinity in the community and just globally. So even, and I'm trying to get him to hear how stupid he sounds, if he can even correct himself, right? When I asked him, so you don't believe that, the legacy of slavery, not seeing men defend them.
And Rob, what do you mean by and Taz is okay with his woman talking this way? What is it in the way that they are talking that because you will have a husband, you cannot speak like that? What is it that they're saying that's detrimental? They are not allowed to say. Because in a man, her husband needs to get her. That he allows. You lost me there. Right. How you don't know the old saying? If you want to keep something from a black man, put in a book. Oh my goodness. They didn't mean black man himself. They meant the woman and the man. They didn't mean the man, just a man. They meant black people. A black man. They meant woman and man. Black people. Keep put in the book. Y'all done got carried away here. Y'all done got carried away. I'm talking about how Nala expressed disdain for black men. But you just got finished saying she was married to one. You got me confused here, Rod. I'm not saying that she needs permission to talk. Okay.
Themselves, not seeing men marry and take care of their families, and all of these other things that black men are going through, and that young black men are watching. You believe that has less of an impact on black boys than being able to whack off or have sex with someone. He said, "Oh yes," he said sex was more important than anything. So it's almost like we're literally dealing with the waste product of breeding farms.
Yeah.
Because they do not have any other, that's where their mind is at. This is why you can hardly, they always believe that any situation where there are black men and black women, it can never be just respectful dialogue. Everybody has to be trying to screw somebody. Everything is about sex. That is their MO. That is their only expression of manhood. This is why they're called animals.
Yep.
Because that literally is how they exert and demonstrate their masculinity. That's the only way they know how to do it, is through sexuality. And this man literally demonstrated that for a whole 35 minutes proudly. That this is basically how they express. I mean, you think about it, they cannot dominate other groups of men. They do not try. We know that masculinity is expressed through domination, through dominating other men, other groups, conquering. So we're talking about men that do not conquer, do not dominate, so therefore they do not express masculinity that way. So a secondary level of that expression would be through sexual conquest, but that is underneath everything else. You know what I'm saying? But they place that at the top. And that's obvious. This is why they literally are breeders.
Caroline.
Yeah, they like dogs. That's why they call dogs.
Yeah. Woof woof.
And bitches.
Woof woof.
So before this Monica chick come up, and you better hope you're not a troll, because I don't have time for that. I want to ask you a question, Storm, because I really feel like your energy and just the way that you function is very different from Black men. And I really do appreciate Black men who won't just make disclaimers, that they will actually set themselves apart. And you can see it. Like, you can see it in the energy, you can see it in the way that they speak, you can see it in the way that they conduct themselves. How does it make you feel as a Black man? Because I mean, as a Black woman, I have to carry every single stereotype that comes with Black women. Whether I'm that or not, I have to carry that by default of being a Black woman. And I have to prove that I'm not that because of the stereotypes. So how does it make you feel as a Black man to see all of this stuff and hear a Black man even speak like that on Nyla's channel?
How does it make me feel? It makes me feel that no matter what room I walk in or what space I walk in, I am constantly in a battle of proving to others that I am not intellectually inferior.
Mm-hmm.
Because listening to him speak, that was rough. Like, I have secondhand embarrassment from listening to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, like, because even I'll talk to my friend about this. Also, she's my assistant. I'm like, why? Like, why do y'all really like them kind of dudes? And she's like, that's what's out here. Like, that's what we have to pick from.
Yes.
And so, how does it make me feel? It's like it's a chip on your shoulder. It's like, fuck. It's like, I know any room I walk into, any interview I go into, anybody I meet on the street, I know they're going to expect me to conduct myself or carry myself a certain way. And then I don't. And then it said, oh, you're different. Well, what do you mean I'm different? Well, what does that mean? Well, what should I be like? It's a lot. It's a lot you have to deal with. So, yeah, it's pressure. That's the word I'm looking for. I feel the pressure of proving that I'm not that.
Yeah, my son.
Yeah, Storm has a person that say you went to an all-white school because you don't.
Yeah, and I wanna agree with what Cynthia said about you too, Storm. You are a breath of fresh air, like when it comes to Black males, because we don't see a lot of men like you on an everyday basis. We don't get a lot of men that we can sit and have a dialogue with like we doing with you. Most of the time, we over here correcting them and trying to teach them and baby them and give them our titty and all type of stuff. So I appreciate it. Like, seriously.
Well, thank you. I mean, I just, to me, what I notice a lot of times when, you guys are having the conversations, I mean, us, Black men, Black women, I don't really have these conversations a lot with the people, so I don't really talk about that, but maybe I need to start trying to have those conversations. But anyway, it seems like one party is actually trying to like teach and the other one just wants to argue.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can tell when you talk to somebody, are they really trying to listen to understand, or are they just listening to hear the end point of your last point, and then I just want to overtalk you, or I just want to say you're wrong, but I can't say why you're wrong. I can't back it up. So I think a lot of y'all talking to people and y'all just wasting y'all breath a lot of times.
Yeah. Yep. I say it all the time. Yep. 95% of the time. That's what it is.
So we're having a conversation for the women, so that we know these men are dumb. We're just trying to demonstrate how dumb they are.
Yeah, that part.
But what should the women do then? Like, because I always make the joke.
Take notes.
Like, who
they
y'all
run?
They have to take notes. They have to see. They have to, they have to pay attention, because the men that call in and men that talk to, they're all different types of Black men. They have to be cognizant of what they say, because sometimes they'll even start off kind of okay, but eventually, because we've been having these conversations for so long, we can pull it up out of them. they'll eventually reveal it to you, you know, in time. If you listen to them, just like I don't know if Cynthia had mentioned it, but the first caller that had called in, they have these preconceived notions about women, that, and I believe it's because of the black male worshiping culture, that we're supposed to, what did that man say? We need help from men to do this, and
Yeah.
you know, we're immoral. Women are inherently immoral. I mean, some of these are black men. That's why I call them. I believe that the majority of them are unevolved white men, because this is how white men were talking 100 years ago openly. And so it's just crazy, because like when you look at even the advertisements from the 50s and 60s, they were completely disrespectful to white women, but now they know at least that even if they are disrespectful internally to their women, they have enough wherewithal to understand that that's not something that you publicly do. So, you know, no matter what they do at their home, they got sense enough to know that what they're doing is wrong and that you cannot be promoting that behavior. But black men believe that it's a show of masculinity to disrespect women. That they really believe that we're, you know, something immoral, and they're supposed to be here to lay down the groundwork and correct us. We have 20-something-year-old, 30-year-old men calling to try to check us.
Yep. And you know what? One of the reasons why I express myself so openly about how I feel when I deal with black men, I know a lot of people probably like, oh, she's probably, you know, a little too aggressive. Well, I used to be that girl. I used to be the girl that believed that I was going to find my knight in shining armor. And, you know, once my husband proposed to me and I did everything right, and I cooked and I cleaned and I took care of the children and I did everything I was supposed to do, that I would get a reciprocal relationship. And I'm trying to help a lot of these girls to not end up in the space that I'm in, where when I see a black man, I look at him literally like a piece of fucking meat. That's what I see when I see them. And I don't want them to do that. If you just divest, open up your options and date who loves you, then you can avoid feeling how I feel when I see them. I don't feel like this when white men walk up to me and compliment me, because I know a lot of times their motive is not the same. They're not coming from the same place. You get what I'm saying? I'm a truck driver, so I'm at truck stops with all different types of men from all different backgrounds and nationalities all the time. White men will walk up to me just for conversation. They're not trying to sleep with me. You get what I mean? But black men, if they smile or they say good morning or how you doing, child, please, they want to hit it. They want to hit it.
I mean, even how you guys have to deal with, you know, dude try to talk to you, you're like, oh, I'm good, and he all fuck you, bitch. Like, damn, did it take all that? Damn, she just said no, like shit.
So we have the two people who, and Khadijah left. So I'm gonna let this should be Monica come in. If you're a troll, I'm just putting you off. So I hope you didn't come over here to troll. So let me admit you so you can explain why you made that dumb comment. And Khadijah left, so I'm gonna let you have to mute your YouTube background. That's putting you off, so I hope you didn't come over here to trouble. You have to mute your background. You have to mute the YouTube playback. You have to mute it.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, are you Monica?
Yes, I am.
How are you doing?
I am awesome. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of explain that comment that you made about not letting a Dusty's words represent fact, essentially.
No. And thank you for having me. It is an honor to speak with you, Cynthia. I think you're the GOAT. No, I think I typed it the way I typed it, so it was misunderstood. When I said I was making a joke. When I said don't confuse the Dusties with facts and logic, because you're giving the facts and logic and it's going to confuse them. No, you're preaching to the choir with me.
Oh, okay. No, sorry. I didn't mean to take it the wrong way. I thought you were just
going for a movie.
It feels like someone is pinching
like I'm going on a movie set.
Him and saying that basically I'm taking his word for it. Thanks for clearing that up, though. You can go ahead and give your perspective if you want to.
Actually, I had just tuned in. I happened to find you guys were on live, and then I saw that you misunderstood what I said. So I said, send me the link. I don't have anything to contribute because I haven't been listening long enough. So.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you think about what you have listened to so far?
I mean, literally, I've only listened like 10 or 20 minutes.
So why would you leave a comment and you ain't
Yo,
heard
you
what
got
she
some
said?
beautiful skin, ma'am. Your
Yeah,
skin
you
is
I was
absolutely.
gonna say she's gorgeous. Isn't she beautiful?
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
your
lady.
skin is beautiful.
It is. She has a beautiful smile too. I definitely think
Yes, she does.
Yes,
She's really
yes.
pretty.
No,
Yeah.
I love you guys. I think you guys are brilliant. I'm the one I've said, I think you're a genius, Cynthia. I really do. And you're helping a lot of us women out here. You really are. You are on point with everything you're saying.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, sorry I took your comment the wrong way. Sometimes it's hard to understand what's trying to be conveyed when it's typed into the chat box. So when I'm really interested in it, I try to give the person the opportunity to come up or call in. And since I know I'm not opening the phone lines because I don't have time to take a bunch of calls, then I wanted to give you the opportunity to come up here because I don't even want to accidentally drill somebody and they don't deserve it. I don't want to do that. I don't.
One comment I
want to do
did have about the MF, I put it in the chat there that came from, I think, slavery when they would put the bag over the son's head and make him have sex with his mother, hence the name MFer.
Mofo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, mofo.
Yeah, I read about that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The MFer. Yeah, that
That's
term
where that
was
word
coined
come
from that. They would, that was actually true.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't heard of that. That's
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sure that there was sexual degeneracy that went on the plantation that's probably beyond our imagination. I'm sure. I'm just sure it was. Like it's
with children and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. The progenitors of slavery were definitely some demonic specimens. Yeah.
Yeah, but thank you so much for coming up. You are definitely very beautiful. I'm glad you cleared that up because I already feel bad even for saying what I said because I don't want to be insulting anybody and they don't deserve it. So if I offended you, I apologize for sure. If I came off a little too hard, then I apologize as well because that wasn't my intent.
I'll find it on the playback because you said before I let this monitor come up and then I clicked in and I had to go to my iPad. So I didn't hear that part. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to get drilled.
She didn't get you too bad. She just grazed you, girl. It wasn't.
Yeah, no, it was, and the thing is, I take it if we can clear that from the record because I didn't know. So I just want you to know when you do play it back, if it offended you, I apologize. I didn't know what you were trying to convey.
No, if you ever see me in the chat, I'm like, you're preaching to the fire. Everything. You guys know what you're talking about.
Okay,
you're beautiful.
You really are. And thank you so much for coming up. I'm gonna let Khadijah come in. She said she typed the comment into Nyla's chat about ask the black man if his wife was black. And I just want to explore her mindset a little bit. I just want to explore her mindset a little bit on that because I want to know what was going through her mind when what prompted her to even ask that question about this black man.
So thanks for having me, guys.
No problem. Thank you so much.
They're not giving you a movie role.
Bye. Okay, so I'm letting Khadijah in. Let me see.
I'm about to exfoliate my damn skin today. She was fucking gorgeous.
I know. She over there looking like liquid gold.
I know. You see her, girl. She was
her complexion is beautiful.
Man,
let me go get me some turmeric from the store real quick and be a mess.
Why she say all she do is just clean her face with hot water? You know, these people like that don't even have to do.
Right, exactly. She went, I just get a rag and no, I don't moisturize. I just go out in the sun and just glow.
You know what though? I think the darker you are, the less maintenance you have to do to your skin though. Because I know if I get like a pimple or a blemish or anything, and the sun is shining, girl, I can sit in that sun for about 20 minutes, and I tell you, my face will be smooth. I don't even know how it worked like that.
Girl, that's that regenerative school. You need to put that
Well,
in a,
you know, I think dark skin.
Bottle, right?
I think dark skin is the most perfect skin out there anyway. I said that several times, and it is. You have. I see it in my sisters. They have a far less issue, especially with discoloration. Some of them than I do. So I just be like, that's the beauty of the dark skin. And it's hard for a dark skinned person to have imperfect skin, as far as I'm concerned. But so Khadijah, you're here, and it looks like you connected to the audio. So you said you sent the comment in Nyla's chat box about the black man who was speaking about if he had a black wife.
Yes. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes.
Yes, it's really good actually.
We can hear you.
Okay, good, because this kind of, I'm on the side. I had to pull over, and that's all I wanted to say. My apologies. I had to pull over on the side of the road and try to figure it out. So, I was, the reason why I was saying, asking if he had a black wife, because he came into the conversation, because the question was about, are the boys influenced by the women who are in his life or the men who left. If you saw the picture with the dude with the 3 trash bags on the stick going out the door, and then the 3 people, or the woman, the daughter, and the little boy that says, I don't want to be a man, and the little girl, I don't want a man, and the female that says, I don't need a man. That was what he was responding to. So when he first came up, he was saying that he was influenced by the culture. He said that the boys that he was hanging out with were the ones that were doing the fuck shit. And then he said that his life changed when he decided to get married. But the reason why I said, was his wife white? Because he was talking down on the way that the black culture is. So I was like, okay, so the way that he was talking down, and knowing that, knowing that most of the people that call in are from the red pill space, I assume that this dude was saying that, like, it's our fault, that, that the boys are doing what they're doing, the culture is influencing the way that they're influencing them. And I asked him if his wife was white, because he said that was what a big transition in his life was getting a wife. So it was just a simple question to me asking, since he said that was what made his life different. And then he started to say that women need a man to take care. He was a Hebrew dusty light. And that after Nyla dissected him, he came out that he was a Hebrew dusty light. And he was saying that women don't know how to pick the men and stuff like that. I'm not sure if you heard that part of the conversation.
Well, I think that was a good assessment, though, because if they come from the red pill space, a lot of times black men, they don't have the desire to contribute to their communities or make it better. So their way of improving is to go outside, and that's a lot of their excuses for swirling is, I wanted to, they're divesting simply. But being the man, you're supposed to be leading the charge, and changing, and so they don't want, you know what I'm saying? So they just, that's usually their way of saying, I want a white woman.
A lot of them Hebrew Negroites believe in multiple wives too. So he probably.
Hebrew Negroite, I'm done.
Yeah, Hebrew Negroites. Yeah, they believe in having multiple women, and they even, because I used to be down with them a few years ago. They also believe that the women should be out working and contributing to building of the nation, and they sit around and they say that their job is to preach. So yeah.
You know what? Speaking of that, if I can share this, my good friends from Arizona, I went to go visit them, I think a month ago, whenever last time I was home. But it's a black woman, white man. And they got 3 kids. Long story short, the black woman is now, I guess technically a Hebrew Israelite. Technically that is what she is, but she's in an interracial relationship, so that's still confusing to me. But anyway, she actually said to me, you know, it's best that you stick with your own race. Like I love my husband, don't get me wrong, but it's best not to mess up the bloodline.
Yeah,
And
but
I've
at what
heard that-
cost? Shit.
but I've now heard that from like 2 or 3 interracial couples. And so it's just odd to me that people that are in these relationships are now saying
She's in black male worshiping
it's a
culture.
threat or something.
Yeah.
She's in black male worshiping culture because she doesn't even realize, because see the Negro lights, they go by the wrong pseudo intelligence of believing in this whole seed of the father thing. So essentially she believes that her children are white. And just scientifically and biologically, that does not add up, because your child is going to carry more of the mitochondrial DNA than they are. You know, like a good example is if you father children and you pass away and paternity has to be established, they cannot test your father to establish your paternity. They would have to test your mother. So technically, if we're being real about it, the quote unquote seed would actually be the mother. So she is not tainted a bloodline. That white man has actually tainted his, because she's carrying black children as a black woman holding the mitochondria. But within the Israelite culture, you're basically an infidel when you taint the bloodline. The women, you know, and it's really a control tactic to get women to not go with other men. But the men, no matter who they have sex with, they're bringing a quote unquote Israelite into the world, if we go by the notion that they're having a seed. Everything about these religious doctrines are put in place to control the sexual behaviors of women, or to scare women into being loyal to a group of men. And so that is just like, that's black male worshiping culture, and she doesn't even know it.
And see,
it's witchcraft.
And I'm glad you talked about the seed thing. This has always been confusing to me. So I've always been told, I've heard 2 different things. I've heard you're the seed of the father. You are who your father is. But then I've heard, you know, you're who your mother is. I don't know. Are you more your father or your mother? That's what I've always been trying to figure out.
You carry more of your mother's DNA.
Well, can I give a scientific perspective
seed.
from it?
The key word is
of your
seed.
father. That doesn't even make any sense, because, you know, just
no
knowing that the uterus, it holds all the eggs, that's just obvious, the obvious part.
Yeah, but it's the
other
seed
part
of your
the
father.
seed of your father. How the fuck can we? Oh, can I cuss on you?
You can cuss. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the seed of your father.
That's fine.
How, when you inside your mother's womb, you don't need all his DNA. I don't even think it's 50% of the DNA goes from his little semen. It's just a fertilization method. Like the sperm is literally pollen. So and then when you inside of your mother's womb, you get her blood type. That's automatically with every single child across the board. You get your mother's blood type.
Yeah, I have my mom's blood type. I do have my mom's blood type.
All your siblings have your mom's blood type, because just the thought of a baby, where the fuck he gonna get his blood?
You don't always have your mom's blood type, because like some of my sisters actually have my dad's blood type, but the thing is like, the child is born with the mom's hormonal system, the immune system, everything that kid is coming out with except the blood
it's
type.
Literally her clone.
It's her. Yeah, it is. Most of it is her. The baby is developing and growing in the mom's body. It just is what it is. The egg is the baby. Okay.
I've been looking into it. I'm in my mid-20s, and I've been looking into a program called CRISPR. And they've been developing kids. Being able to do the different genetic types. I don't think I want to dissect my egg. I think I just want to fertilize my own eggs in their incubator without any sperm. I think I want to.
I want to make a comment really quick about that CRISPR, and then I'm going to yield it to you, Storm and Queen, because then I'm getting off here in a minute. With the CRISPR, and this is how you know you the seed of your mother. I read it in what is that? There's that medical magazine is really popular. I forgot what it is. They have an online copy of it too. But they said they were doing CRISPRs. They were trying to modify the embryos, in order to get rid of genetic diseases. They wanted to modify the embryos. Now, if you were the seed of your father, they would be doing that to sperm cells. They wouldn't be going into modifying these eggs in a woman's body, because they feel like that's where all of this, matters from. They will be doing that with the sperm. If that was the case, you wouldn't, if you see your father and it's dependent on that sperm, if the sperm is the baby and makes the baby, you ain't gonna be modifying no egg if the sperm is that baby. That egg is that baby in that woman's body. That's why they're going to her egg to modify these things, because it's her seed that's developing that baby, not his sperm. They would be modifying the sperm, I feel like, if that was the case.
Okay, so I think then what a lot of people are confusing, because somebody said in the chat, like, y'all need to take a genetics class. I thought shit was 50-50, but then I always hear people say, whatever, different. So
it's 50-50 with chromosomes. You get what, 23 from each parent. So that is the 50-50. You do get that.
But I think what people are confusing is the phenotype versus the genotype. So I think the baby looks like the dad, so they're thinking you're the seed of the father. I think that's maybe where that comes from. But even babies looking like their dad is a biological thing, so you know who the daddy is. That's a whole another evolutionary thing or whatever. So, but then,
it's called CRISPR gene editing, and they do that with the egg. It's called CRISPR gene editing. I wanted to figure out what it was that they were doing. They were doing CRISPR gene editing to try to get rid of the, like Parkinson's and all of these weirdo things that mostly people of no color get. They were trying to, who is Miss Marsha? I ain't get no link to Miss Marsha.
Oh.
Like, you ain't no link to no Miss Marsha. Now I know y'all might be sitting up here trying to share this link, but there's a waiting room. You got to be admitted. Like, if I ain't give you no link, you ain't getting admitted. It's just that simple. I'm not about to admit nobody that I didn't give a link to. So let me just X you out, because you ain't coming up in here. I don't know who that is, but it's called CRISPR gene editing, and they do it to the woman's egg.
They don't read.
She takes a picture, and in that picture,
what's for dinner, boss lady?
It's the fact that, for one, there's very little positive models for relationships in our community. Most of us are growing up in single-parent homes. It leaves a lot of questions unanswered. So we go out and we look for people that can give us a good example of what we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to think and how we're supposed to live our lives. But unfortunately, if you grow up in the hood or something like that, or like I said, a single-parent household, the examples that are around you ain't necessarily the best examples. So then we can't find the example in our immediate environment, at least not one that looks like it's right. So then we turn our attention to the TV and our phones. And
you making taco salad?
This day and age is the new power couple being NBA YoungBoy is the man in the relationship. That's the prototype. And then somebody like Brittany Renner is the prototype for the woman in the relationship. Now we got this love and hip hop era where our relationships is full of toxicity and everybody having meltdowns online. 1 minute you super in love and you posting that online. It's everybody post, Shades on Shade Room. Everybody posting it. The pictures is going viral. Oh, so and so, they look so happy. They're such a beautiful couple. Then 3 months later, they hate each other and they selling each other out on social media. So now we got this roller coaster of relationships. Super high, super low. When it's low, that's when all the toxicity come out. When it's fresh and brand new, it's beautiful. So we got this culture of people that's jumping from relationship to relationship, relationship to relationship, because it's the best when it's new. Don't nobody know how to weather the storm. Don't nobody know how to talk they differences out. Don't nobody know how to sit down with their woman and be like, hey, look, this is how I feel about this. How do you feel? Okay, that's how you feel. All right, well, have you looked at it from this angle? Oh, you have looked at it? Okay. Well, have you thought about this? Oh, okay, I can understand where you're coming from now. So,
oh man, I hate to change the topic, but we didn't see what happened with the guy he was renting the house from.
How many people could you feed? Oh damn, this one went off.
Did you help, nigga?
Today that they're cooking drugs on the stove and they're going to trash our place. I think that these people are reaching out because they're concerned for us and our place.
The craziest thing has just happened. I rent my home out on Airbnb while I'm traveling, and I just got these messages.
Damn.
Which then led us to this.
They said when Captain goes wrong. They said when Captain goes wrong.
That's my house. So we haven't kicked them out of the house yet, but we did just get this video, which is kind of crazy.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, what is that?
A TB.
Oh, they sent it to you?
Yeah, my supporters, they brought me a house.
Excuse me?
It just got put together.
Yeah, how big the house is? How big the house is?
20 feet.
She told people that was a little
Yo,
house.
this is literally my bedroom.
Wow.
That's it right there? That's the house you in?
Yes, the kitchen is not done yet.
She could lie? Wow.
Oh, shit! Oh! Timmy, I just burnt the hole in the bed. Look, I gotta buy a new cover. Oh my God.
Follow for part 3.
As soon as I got those messages, I screenshot them and I sent a text to her. As soon as she received it, she called me. And my first inclination was to ask them to leave, but I asked her if she had been smoking in the house and if this had occurred and if they had a dog. She admitted it immediately, apologized, and then offered to send over a deposit to make sure that they didn't have to leave. I'm not normally this nice, but I didn't want to kick them out on the street because they told me that they didn't have very much money, and they promised not to smoke anymore, which you can probably tell from my next video was a pretty horrible idea.
Wow. I knew it was something I forgot to show you guys today.
So I think that these people are finding us on social media. We just got a new message today that they're cooking drugs on the stove and they're going to trash our place. I think that these people are reaching out because they're concerned for
not no
us
more.
and our place.
The craziest thing has just happened. I rent my home out on Airbnb while I'm traveling, and I just got these messages.
Damn, he can't even go away in peace. Shit. He can't even go away. They got the man
Which
number.
then led us to this.
They said when Captain goes wrong. They said when Captain goes wrong.
But that was her house.
That's my house. So we haven't kicked them out of the house yet, but we did just get this video, which is kind of crazy.
Okay. Okay, what is that?
A TB.
Oh, they sent it to you?
Yeah, my supporters, they brought me a house.
Excuse me?
It just got put together.
Yeah, how big the house is? How big the house is?
20 feet.
Yo, this is literally my bedroom.
That's it right there? That's the house you in?
Yes, the kitchen is not done yet.
It's collide.
Oh, shit! Oh! Timmy, I just burnt the hole in the bed. Look, I gotta buy a new cover. Oh my God.
Follow for part 3.
He ain't not giving it to no black people, period.
As soon as I got those messages, I screenshot them and I sent a text to her. As soon as she received it, she called me. And my first inclination was to ask them to leave, but I asked her if she had been smoking in the house and if this had occurred and if they had a dog. She admitted it immediately, apologized, and then offered to send over a deposit to make sure that they didn't have to leave. I'm not normally this nice, but I didn't want to kick them out on the street because they told me that they didn't have very much money, and they promised not to smoke anymore, which you can probably tell from my next video was a pretty horrible idea. So right after I got off the phone with them, I went to sleep because it was 4 a.m. here in Berlin, and I was so exhausted from dealing with this. I woke up, and as soon as I did, I saw a whole bunch more messages basically saying that they were doing drugs, destroying my home. And I waited until it was a reasonable time in Detroit, and I reached out, let them know that I was watching them on live, continuing to do drugs in my home, and that they needed to leave.
Pow, 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 pow. Pow. I don't think nothing going on tonight. Let me see. And then I'm out of here. But if it is, you guys gonna get the y'all gonna get the scoop tomorrow.
Squarespace lets you.
All right, guys. I make sure we'll see what's going on for tomorrow. So I have we update to the update to the update. So I catch you guys manana. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. All right. I'm out of here. Peace.